are we on? The 25th? Was it 25th?
25th.
25th?
Yep. Yeah.
It's a couple more.
Run differential at the K as an entire season. The least runs scored in all of baseball after last night's result. Not only with them, but also the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, at this point, it's pathetic and it's embarrassing. You have fans that maybe the casual fan goes to 1 to 2, 3 max games a year, probably. And we all know there are all sorts of entertainment options in this city. It's also summertime. People are going on vacations, going to different spots.
St. Brown wouldn't say that. But.
That's true. And you plan out things to do, and you're excited to go to a baseball game, and everybody knows you go to a game, there's no guarantee you're going to see a win. Nobody's crazy like that. But, man, you go to a game this year, and you don't see offense. You, in this case, haven't seen a win in the month of June, 15 of their last 18 that they have lost at home. You wonder why people struggle with going to games on weeknights, and you wonder why there's attendance issues at times, unless there's a huge promotion or this weekend when the Dodgers are in town, my guess is there will still be a good crowd. Because when you go there, man, right now, odds are you're seeing an L, and you're also seeing them get no hit for 6 innings, or perfect game opportunity for 5 last night from Taj Bradley. Who the hell is that? He's just an average pitcher.
This is the one to get to. ERA of 4.57. It was actually higher than that going in the game, like 4.75. But he has a 7-run given up performance this month, a 6-run given up performance this month. But, man, was he dialed in. Royals on no-hit alert.
Yeah, I mean, it was embarrassing last night. It's been an embarrassing month of June. And Jonathan India was in the clubhouse yesterday talking to, I think it was Jalen Thompson, who had the quote. I was looking for some audio or video of it, but I have just the quote, so I'll read it. He was asked about why at home are you struggling? And look, on the road, they're basically a 500 team. At home, obviously, we just mentioned where they're at. He said, quote, I don't know, maybe we were trying to do too much, trying to hit the ball too far. It's a big park. We're trying to produce, probably over swinging and hit home runs. He went on to say, and this park is not really made for homers. We got to hit the ball on a line. I'm doing it myself. I'm over swinging. It's just part of it, and we got to figure it out. We're about to turn to July, man. We're about to turn to July. This is who this offense is.
Other teams don't have a problem hitting home runs. They don't have a problem hitting home runs at Kauffman Sound. I'm tired of that excuse.
Yeah.
Because it's not the most home run starved ballpark in Major League Baseball. It's not. It's not even one of the bottom 5 or 6 as far as fewest home runs. That's an excuse. They just can't hit, Alex. And you always think it's going to change. I told you always feel like it's going to change. Because you look at the standings. Hey, the Royals are right there. The Twins have been tanking. They're 4.5 back now. The Royals 3.5 back now. But they're all still in that mix as Cleveland 1 win above the Royals, but 2 in the column as far as what counts. But you get frustrated, but you always think it's going to change. Like this team will bring you back because you see these players and you know the potential. I told you, look forward to it. I hated that off day. It's like, all right, Royals back in action tonight. We'll see if they can turn things around. Then, boom, it's the same story, different day, even having a nice day off. They should have come in a little pissed what happened in San Diego. I mean, they had a chance to make a nice 5-1 road trip. It slipped out of their hands. And they could have won that series out in San Diego. It slipped out of their hands at the end because they couldn't hit. They get the full day off, and you're thinking, all right, we saw what happened last time. They take a day off, go down to Texas, look good, look great. Jack gets his home runs in that series. I mean, the Royals look great. They swept the Rangers. Things are looking good. You always think it's going to change, and then when they get back to the K, it reminds you of who they are because they are who they are. And on June 1st,
at this point, the offense, absolutely.
We're almost to July. You are, If you don't make moves, you are who you are. You got a great pitching staff, and I know Bubic wasn't great last night, but still could have won that game.
Sure.
But you are what you are. When you get to July, you're really what you are, unless you make moves. But they're still in that 9-team lump in the American League, which I think that's a curse and a blessing, that extra wild card.
Yeah, we said it yesterday. I think this is a team, barring a trade, they are a team that's going to be 3 under and 3 above, like that range. That's where if we were to just play this out the rest of the way with no other moves, I think they're a team that's 3 under 500 to no better than 3 games above 500. Unless you tell me that they're middle of July in a spot where they're within striking distance of a playoff spot, which is 2 or 3 games, 4 games max out. And they go and they find a bat to trade for. We're going to talk about that in about 25 minutes or so. Jeff Passan put out some of the top trade candidates. There's a couple Royals targets mentioned. There's also a Royals player mentioned as a target for other teams. How viable are any of those options, including some that are moves that are just for this year, and some guys could help you beyond. And that's maybe the direction that they will have to start looking as well. But I think, Bink, the offense goes back to pre-Texas series, and that was awesome to see in Texas, and cool. That's the outlier, though.
Yep.
I still don't know how a team, and we asked J.J. Piccolo about it last Tuesday, and obviously he expressed his confidence in his hitting staff and in the coaching staff, but I don't know how a team, can have playoff expectations like they do and have, coming off a playoff appearance, and can have an offense that literally right now has scored the fewest runs in baseball and say, we're not going to, in a hitting coach, and the process of that doesn't change. That's wild to me. I normally, as we said, it's all about the players. The players got to hit, and there's some guys on this team that just flat out are not hitting. And Jonathan India himself, the guy that the quote we just read, he obviously has been a major disappointment after the acquisition with the Cincinnati Reds. He is not that he was going to be a guy that carries this offense. There were limitations. You knew that going in, but he's been a disappointment very evidently. And his defense last night at times too was not great, to say the least. So that is all true. But you mentioned the way they're hitting and at home and the home runs and whether or not they're trying too hard to overswing and all this. At some point, when is that on the hitting coach? We brought up Alex Zumwalt's name as well. It was not unheard of for most organizations if you have the expectations that they had and you're hitting the way they are. Franchise worst right now. Franchise worst type of season on the offensive side, and you don't make any changes to your hitting staff. That's surprising to me. That is the one thing that I'll still continue to go back to over and over until something changes.
If you don't make a change, it stays the same. It just does. There's no fire. There's no fire. They need a bit of red ass in them. They do. I'm sorry. You and I have talked about it before, the whole fighting situation or whatever. They have been bullied around by different teams this year, and they've done nothing about it. Like something like that to spike this team. I remember, the heyday of the Royals. It was George Brett or Hal McRae getting pissed after the game that they lost because they're much better. I know it's an old joke, but, taking the bat to the toilet or whatever. I'm not saying you have to go do that, but do something. Show some fire. Show some fight. There's just a lack of fire, excitement, and desire with this team, and it's very frustrating to watch. There's very frustrating to watch because the potential's there. They can do it. You look at the standings. This team's right in the wild card mix, but then they go out and lay an egg like that against the Rays, a team that spends less money than you do, a team that's in flux and has been essentially going to be sold to a guy in Jacksonville, a land developer.
Looks like it.
They could be moved anywhere, not just stay in St. Pete. They don't know where they're going. They're nomads. Who knows where they're going? No one goes to their games except Yankees or Red Sox.
Did you see they're
fans.
about to play, was it 35 of their next 40-something on the road or something because of the scheduling?
Yeah, they play in Steinbrenner Field. They moved the A-ball team out there to some bleachers next to it. They're a team without a home. Nobody goes to their games except Red Sox and Yankee transplants in the area. They just keep winning. And it's just a good organization. They don't know where they're going. This team should have fire. The Royals made the postseason. But yet they come out there. And again, you may think it's silly to fight or whatever, or anybody do it. Hey, if you start getting around, something like that fires the team up, man. That's better than players-only meetings and stupid stuff like that. Much better. Just win some games. You had a day off back in front of the home crowd, and you went out there. It was just lifeless, just a lifeless performance.
Yeah, someone says, what is firing the hitting coach going to do?
It's better than nothing.
I think it's not even so much that I think automatically they're just going to start hitting better, but in a season where you have expectations, you got to try something different. And also, show me examples of organizations when you have the expectation, as I said, to make the playoffs. You're coming off a playoff appearance. And for a lot of people, including myself, the expectation was to win and compete in the AL Central, and they're obviously not doing that either. And just hold on to they've made every player move they could internally. Honestly, we've gone through this over and over.
Jack's here.
DFA'd Hunter Renfroe. They've optioned MJ Melendez. They've called up Rave. They've called up Caglione. They've called up Noah Cameron. They've made the internal player moves, pretty much maxed it out, I would argue, at this point in time. It's either outside moves via trade, or then you start looking, and I'm definitely not saying to fire Q. I think he gets way too much blame for this. I'm sorry he didn't hit the home run button last night like he did in Texas. I mean, some people think there's literally a button in the dugout that he just chooses not to press every night or something. But I think most organizations don't allow their hitting staff and hitting coach to make it through an entire season and say this is acceptable. The 3 or 4 years where he's been in charge, last year they were, as much as it was nice to see him make the playoffs, they were an average offense. It's not like this offense was top 5 or top 10 in baseball last year. They were bad the 2 years prior. You can say it was personnel, fine. Last year with a very similar roster, they were average, and this year they're historically bad, the worst offense in franchise history.
Not saying going NHL or NBA stuff where they just fire everybody when the season's in the tank, But do something. You know what NFL teams do when things aren't working out? When they have a good defense and not scoring points, they change around our offensive coordinator. And maybe the head coach steps in and starts calling plays. They make any kind of change. They make small changes. Like NFL teams, if they're supposed to be better than they are, they do make changes. It's sometimes not wholesale
I don't think
changes,
they're going to do what I'm saying.
But they do. They switch up the
but
play calling and everything else, but they do make some changes internally. I'm not saying go NHL and NBA, just scorched earth, fire everybody. Don't need to do that, but you can make changes. Because as you go right now, it's certainly not working.
We'll talk more about the Royals, obviously, throughout the show today. We'll also, here in 20 minutes or so, get into what Jeff Passan considered some of the top 50 MLB trade candidates. One Royals player was mentioned as a target. You guys can probably guess who that is. There were also, 4 names, some with rentals, some with control through 2026 and beyond for targets for the Royals. We'll get into that coming up in just a bit. Let's pivot a little bit to the NFL. As we know, we're kind of in that dead period now of the NFL season. Things will be pretty quiet, at least you hope if you're an NFL team, until you get to training camp. And so you start to get more and more of the predictions, the list, the rankings, things like that. Bink is extremely fired up about what some experts had to say about quarterback play. That's coming up at 11. I mean, I walked in for 30 seconds today around 8:30, and Bink was already upset. So that's coming up at 11. He was upset. Immediately.
Well, traffic got me first, and then this did.
Yeah, well, you were. It seems like you were on edge from the minute the morning started.
Traffic got me on edge,
yeah.
But I was already on edge because of this.
Yeah, so we'll get to that. We'll get to that 11. But no, NFL.com was going through divisional quarterbacks, and I had said a few times that I think in the AFC West, QB coach combo, it's his best we've had in a long time, right? You know, whether it's obviously Andy Reid and Mahomes, Herbert and Harbaugh, even Sean Payne and Nix, and then Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. If you compare that to other divisions, it's right there. And now we actually have rankings to see if anybody agrees or disagrees. NFL.com says the AFC West is the best quarterback division heading into the season. Do you agree with that? Top to bottom?
Agree.
Top to bottom?
100%
yes.
agree with that.
Yeah, top to bottom, it absolutely has to be. Number 2 on the list was the NFC West. I thought this was interesting. Kyler Murray with the Cardinals, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold as your floor is not the same way we would have reacted 2 years ago. After last year, if I tell you Sam Darnold's your floor, you say, oh, okay. Now, your top level is Matthew Stafford. Brock Purdy, though, last year was not good. So am I getting Brock Purdy from last year? Or am I getting Brock Purdy that went to a Super Bowl NFC title game, Brock Purdy?
I think that's ridiculous, to be honest with you. Kyler Murray is never developed guy, shows potential, never quite 100% develops. Matthew Stafford, sure. He's won a ring. He's been good. Brock Purdy's actually gone to the Super Bowl. Okay, it's okay. But then you got Sam Darnold, who completely melted down at the end of the year and cost the Vikings a nice run in the playoffs because he did melt down. If I was covering a team in this conference, I don't even think I would say this conference deserves to be number 2 as far as quarterbacks are concerned.
I think it's interesting because the way that the article is positioned is it's like a quarterback room grade. It's not like based on certain player. Like if you got a top 5 player, then they're automatically higher on the list because none of these guys are in the top 5 out of the list. Stafford ranks 8th. Everybody else is outside the top 12. So them being that high is definitely interesting. It's like the average quarterback division. Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. And then Stafford's the one good quarterback, like really good quarterback.
Did you agree with number 1, though? So you agreed with that?
I think so. I think so because in the same conversation, though, you have one quarterback in the top 10, and that's Mahomes, and then everybody else is outside the top 10. But I think from the way that this person is grading the rooms, it makes sense why the AFC West is at least in the top 2 or 3.
Fair enough. But the second-ranked conference there, the NFC West, that's a joke.
I think the NFC East is better than them, who they have 3rd.
That is 3rd. Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts staying down. It's not great. I will say this, though.
Dak at 19 also is crazy to me.
Jaden Daniels is a ton of potential. Talk about a rookie that goes to the conference championship game. Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson is, okay, he's been floundering around, but that is going to be a future Hall of Famer, and he does have a ring. And then there's, of course, Dak Prescott, that everybody's always got this potential, but he never lives up to that. But, yes, that group of quarterbacks is better than number 2.
So, AFC East, I think, should be lower than what they are.
So, yeah, number 3 was...
Josh Allen saves them.
Number 3 was NFC East. Number 4 was AFC East. Number 5, AFC North. Number 6, NFC North. NFC South was 7th in the worst quarterback division. I don't think anybody's going to disagree, right? AFC South. You have Stroud, but then it's Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, and it's Trevor Lawrence, who has been wildly disappointing, and then Cam Ward, who's a wild card. He was the number 1 overall pick in this past year's draft. Yeah, I would agree with you on the AFC North should be up at least one spot. I don't think AFC North should be necessarily the second best. When
you can make an argument it's better than number 2.
Yeah, the issue is the Kenny. As I think Drew was mentioning, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco in Cleveland.
But the one
that
thing about
drags
it
you
is they
down
do have
drastically.
a ring there. Flacco has been a comeback player of the year. Hey, listen, he's not great, but he's won a ring. He's been comeback player of the year. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Joe Burrow in that conference. They're slided.
The
this
ring
is a
stuff
slide.
the ring stuff isn't part of the category, though. It's like, how good is the quarterback room? And I know that Joe Flacco has got a ring, but
they should not be.
Judging him
You're
right
not going to be
now.
great top to bottom. You're not going to be great top to bottom. But Aaron
But that's what
Rodgers,
the list
4-time
is, though.
MVP, though. Jackson, 2-time MVP. Joe Burrow. Has Joe Burrow been to a Super Bowl? Again, not going to sit here and stump for these guys, but I will say they get screwed.
They should not be 5th. I'll give you that. They should be the AFC East being 4th is crazy to me. Josh Allen, Tua, Justin Fields, Drake May. How on earth are they ahead of the combination
Josh Allen,
of
that's it.
Lamar, Burrow, and Rodgers before we even get to Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett? That one just makes zero sense. I'm totally with you. I think there's an argument to be made, despite people's perception of the NFC East. Like Dak, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels before I even get to Russ. That's pretty damn good in terms of quality. Like Jaden Daniels might be eventually considered a clear. I think Jaden Daniels is already a top 10 quarterback. He might end up being a top 5 quarterback. Jalen Hurts, at some point, we got to put a little respect on the guy's name. He's a top 10 quarterback. Russell Wilson, for him being the worst quarterback in your division, let me read you the worst quarterbacks in these other divisions. All right. I guess in the North, we would say it's J.J. McCarthy right now. Mm-hmm. In the NFC South, it would be Tyler Shuck or whatever his name is there.
He might even start.
In the AFC South, it's Cam Ward probably just because we don't know.
You think so?
Well, because we don't know anything
I know,
about
but
him.
I think we can say I don't think
Anthony
it's too far of a
Richardson?
jump to say Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones are worse than Cam Ward.
Well, we just don't know.
Correct.
Yeah.
I guess. Which is it?
Drew's not wrong.
The two rooms that could have the most growth, I guess, because we don't know. The AFC South, if all of a sudden C.J. Stroud bounces back and Cam Ward looks like the goods and Trevor Lawrence has a good year, all of a sudden that room is top 5. The same thing with the NFC North. They had Caleb Williams at 28. Caleb Williams is going to have a better year than 28, or he better. Then you have Jordan Love in there, and you have Jared Goff. It's interesting because they have Kyler Murray ranked as a better quarterback than some other people that I don't know if you would actually have him ranked better than. Like Aaron Rodgers is 22. Is Kyler Murray better than Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers?
No.
I mean,
no.
I don't think so. It's just an interesting list. It gets us talking about stuff.
Well, the one thing is they did get it right. The AFC West is loaded. If Geno Smith is your worst quarterback, then again, 2022 he led the NFL.
They don't even have him as the
percentage.
worst quarterback. They have Bo Nix as the worst one, right?
Which it's debatable between Nix and Smith. Nix is showing a lot of potential.
They have Kyler Murray ranked better than Bo Nix,
which is a joke. Bo Nix turned that team around. Love or hate him, he did do it.
No, for sure. No, I'm with you. Yeah, the divisional rankings, I only have an issue. You can argue 1 or 2 spots up for the AFC North ahead of the AFC.
If AFC West wasn't one, we'd have more.
What did you guys think of Mahomes being number 7?
Yeah, obviously I disagree with that. Obviously. Yeah, if you were wondering, they also ranked each quarterback out. And so Mahomes was 7, Geno was 12, Herbert was 11, Bo Nix was 20. I also just think that's wrong. Bo Nix and Geno Smith should not have an 8-spot gap between each other.
Agreed.
Like, I mean, that's crazy to me. That's
who else do they
absolutely
have
crazy.
above Mahomes? That's 7.
They have Jackson at 1 and Allen at 2, which
and they also
can't
had
beat
Jane
Mahomes
Daniels
in the postseason, which that's pretty big.
Jane Daniels was 5.
Burrow was 3. Jared Goff was 4. They had Jared Goff. 5. They had 6. They had Baker Mayfield better than Mahomes.
This was off of their QBI thing or whatever that NFL.com uses.
But
Baker
Mahomes
Mayfield
didn't
was
have
6.
2 of his top receivers all year, and people forget that.
Yeah, they calculated their average ranking based on this QBI. And it says quarterbacks do not appear in the final QBI of 2024 either because they did not participate or because they are incoming rookies, obviously. And the exact average ranking of the 3 rookies, Williams 28, Bo Nix 29, Jaden Daniels 30 was what they were heading into last season.
Text line 816 asked, does Goff regress after losing Ben Johnson?
It's a fair question. We'll find out.
That's a very fair question. I think he does.
I don't think the Lions are going to fall off a cliff, but I think yesterday we were going through, we were talking about the NFC North a little bit, and they're going to go, in my opinion, from a 14-win team to kind of like the Chiefs, from 15 to maybe 12, 14 to 12, 14 to 11. That's the range I think they could fall off because they also lost Aaron Glenn. But Jared Goff, with Ben Johnson and with that system and those weapons, have obviously turned his entire career around. Not that he went to a Super Bowl with the Rams, but still, he's a much better quarterback today than he was the first 3 or 4 years of his career. But yeah, I think it's a fair question to ask. Does that offense as a whole regress? They lost their center, so he'd been working with Ragnow for a couple of years.
Retired.
Yeah, he retired for health issues, I think.
All those injuries on defense, I know it didn't affect the offense, but
Hutchinson's coming back,
field
though.
position and everything else.
Hutchinson's coming back, though, for the Lions, which would be huge.
I think he's come back player of the year, to be honest with you.
What do they do in the draft? They drafted, let's see here.
Detroit.
I'm curious if they, so they went D-tackle.
I actually liked their draft this year.
O-line. Wide receiver, yeah.
I think we liked it when we did the draft coverage because Miles Frazier was interesting, and Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, was interesting as well. It was a pretty conservative draft. It's good, though.
I mean, it's for good. You don't need to be
helpful.
aggressive. You don't need to have a great
Miles
draft.
Frazier out of LSU on the offensive line like that.
Yeah.
But not having Ben Johnson, I do think, affects that team. Because that guy knows offense.
Coming up in about 7 minutes, we'll get back to baseball. As I said, some of the trade candidates, both whether it's being a buyer or seller, from Jeff Passan. But, during the NFL season towards the end, everybody's trying to figure out what happened with Deontay Johnson. Remember, that was a name at one point we discussed getting traded to Kansas City. Thank goodness they dodged that, obviously, and he ended up in Baltimore. But he really never played for the Baltimore Ravens. And there was that game towards the end of the year where he just wouldn't go on the field. Everybody's trying to figure out, what do you mean he wouldn't enter the field when Harbaugh asked him to? And they said, we're investigating. We're trying to figure it out. We're working through it. Well, Deontay Johnson, I'm shocked he admitted this. He's in Cleveland now, for the record. He's on the Cleveland Browns, all right? So it's important considering what the quote I'm about to read. So he admitted that he refused to enter a game for Baltimore because he felt, quote, ice cold. By the way, the temperature was 41. There's a lot colder places. You're playing in Cleveland, dude.
It's a lot colder there, Deontay.
Quote, I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays, or nothing. It was cold. End of the third, going into the fourth, they were like, Tay, we need you. I was like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea for me. Like, my legs are already ice cold, and I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. It's not like I didn't want to go into the game, but leading up to this point, I had been through so much. I told them I'm finna go in, so I just sat on the bench, and that's when they suspended me.
That's an insane thing to admit publicly. If I was the Browns, dead serious, I would cut him.
I would cut him,
Tay,
too.
we need
It's
you.
attitude.
Nah, I'm good. I'm cold.
How would have he handled
You're not playing in the NFL again,
How
my
would he
guy.
have handled that minus 31 wind chill game at Arrowhead against the Dolphins?
Oh,
He's
not even getting
Those
out.
guys didn't want to walk out of the locker room, but they did.
And now he's playing in Cleveland, all right, which is, not any cooler than Baltimore. And in general, it's not like in the NFL, every team doesn't have heated benches. This isn't like some small college that doesn't have like the heated benches. Sit your ass on the warm bench as long as possible. You're playing in the NFL. You won't go in because you're cold. That's so embarrassing. I would never. If I knew this, if I were the Browns, I'm like, oh gosh, what do we do?
Done.
We can't have this guy
People
around.
think it's silly, but this is exactly why at the combine they asked the question: do you like football? How much do you like football? Because there's two types. As we had the coach on from college, the two types of guys: those that like the sport and those like what the sport brings you. Like being a pro player is different.
Yeah.
So there's two types of people: those that actually like the sport and those that like what the sport brings. There's a big
For him
distinction.
to also say I didn't want to go out to because I put bad film out there. Like, what?
That's so embarrassing.
What?
I'm shocked he said it publicly. It makes him look even worse, obviously. And if I'm the Browns, I'm like, oh man. You got to wonder, is he going to be ready to play in November if the Browns have an important drive and it happens to be 22 degrees because it's Cleveland and it's a divisional game or any game, and he's coach, sorry, not going in, too cold. What?
Someone from the A16 says, I don't think he meant literally cold, just not warmed up.
No.
It doesn't matter what he meant. Cleveland needs to change their culture.
way.
They need to change their culture. This is a move to change the culture.
No, I don't think this is, my bot. Like, no, I do not think it was, I need to get stretched out. Also, again, no excuse for that either. I mean, but no, he's talking about he was ice cold in terms of temperature. I do not think this was. I need. This isn't a pitcher. It's like, oh man, I got to warm my arm up first before I come in.
When Juju Smith-Schuster comes into the game, he doesn't have. You don't see him stretching on the sidelines before. That's before the game. You know, like he's warmed up and he's ready to go.
What's worse, that or Anthony Richardson tapping out?
Anthony Richardson tapping out because he's the quarterback. He's the quarterback. He's the
I
quarterback.
think we're getting pretty close, though. I think it's pretty close.
The edge goes to Richardson just because he's the quarterback. He's the leader of the team. You drafted him. He was viewed as your future, and he's a quarterback doesn't pull himself out of a football game.
Just audible and
is
hand the ball off.
All right, up next, guys. Let's talk back with the Royals in baseball. Jeff Passan had his top 50 trade candidates. A couple guys to go target, including one name to trade away. We'll run through that next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hi there, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Carter. Our dad is Rex with Rex Buys KC.
If you're thinking about selling a home in Kansas City and don't know where to start, our dad can help.
Sometimes life throws curveballs, like moving for a new job, dealing with a divorce, or inheriting a house you weren't expecting.
Dad doesn't just make offers, he talks with people to help them understand all of their options. No pressure, and it doesn't cost anything to talk with his team.
He's a local home buyer who really knows Kansas City. If selling to him is the right choice, he'll give you a fair cash offer, and you can close on your timeline even in as little as 7 days.
He buys homes in any condition. No need for repairs, no fees, no surprises.
Just an honest, easy process so you feel good about your decision.
Want to talk to him? Call 816-330-6000 or go to rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Hey, I know what it's like to try to choose the people to work on your house. Contractor, we've all had contractor trouble at some point in our life. This is why if it's a roof, it's a no-brainer. It's Century Roofing. Voted best of Johnson County 3 years in a row, have done 30,000 roofs in the Kansas City area, and have personally done repairs to my roof, both my roof and my screen porch roof, to make sure when the wind caught it a couple of weeks ago. I trust them not just because they were voted best of Johnson County 3 years in a row, but because they've been standing behind their warranty in Kansas City for 35 years and the 30,000 roofs that they have done. It's the kind of thing that you don't want to trust to, boy, I sure hope I like this roofing company. And if you had those storms a couple of weeks ago, why not find out if that caused enough damage to warrant filing an insurance claim? And with their free estimates, that is a really easy thing to do over at Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go with KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. That's centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Uber Eats has deals all summer long. Get Burger King, Subway, Popeyes, and hundreds more local favorites and savor every last bite. That sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
No one likes having to choose. That's why with America's best lineup of hybrids from Hyundai, you get the best of both worlds. Like the reliable and efficient Tucson Hybrid with America's best warranty. Or the stylish yet capable Santa Fe Hybrid with power to navigate the toughest terrain. It's like having your cake and eating it too. You know, if you could drive a cake. Hybrids from Hyundai. It's the best of both worlds. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is on now. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in about 8 minutes, we'll talk about the NBA draft. That is taking place tonight. Remember, it's a 2-night event now, which I understand it would go way late, but it's crazy too. We don't need 2 nights of this thing. But anyway, I'm excited for tonight. This might be the best draft class at the top, at least, that we've had in a little bit. Of course, headlined by Cooper Flagg, who is going to go to the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll talk a little NBA draft, including maybe a couple prop bets, see what direction we're going to add if we can make a little bit of money on that. We'll also, coming up in 25 minutes, check in with something that had Bink very, very fired up this morning. Very upset, to say the least. But
I think normal human beings would be upset.
Okay. So we'll get to that in just a bit.
Rational human beings, Drew, not you.
Let's talk some baseball again. And Jeff Passan put out his top 50 MLB trade candidates yesterday towards the end of the show. And the Royals were linked to, 6 different players. They only had one player listed as a trade candidate, as in trading away to another team, as in being sellers, or at least sellers in the extent that you would be willing to trade off one of your best pitchers to go and try to add to this year and maybe beyond, which is, I think, the key part here. Because at number 7 on the list, or number 6, was Seth Lugo. And they put it as a 40% chance the Royals trade Seth Lugo. This was just Jeff Passan's list. And he talked about, obviously, how good Seth Lugo has been. Said Kansas City could opt to move him, especially if Cole Reagan's injured shoulder doesn't improve. We all know Seth Lugo has an opt-out, and everybody expects him to opt out because he's going to get a very nice deal somewhere in the offseason. They list best fits as the Cubs, the Astros, the Blue Jays, the Padres, and the Dodgers. Let's just start there, and then we can get to the names where they have the Royals maybe trading. I think it's fairly simple. Seth Lugo, you probably know that he's not back next year. So if your team is out of it, and right now they're, 3.5 back, and as we've said over and over, that determination in 2 or 3 weeks will be pretty simple. Are they 7 or 8 games out of a playoff spot, or are the Royals 1 or 2 out of a playoff spot? that sets itself up very easily. If you are out of it, then absolutely you have to trade him. You cannot get nothing for a quality pitcher at his level when you're trying to build and set yourself up for 2026. I mean, do you disagree? Is there a scenario where you can talk yourself into that doesn't involve them being right there outside of a playoff spot come deadline time that you would be fine with just holding on to Seth Lugo? That would be a bad move, in my opinion, as an organization to hold on to Lugo if you were around the deadline 8 games out of a playoff spot and you held on to him. That would be a huge mistake.
It would be a huge mistake because it's going to be in high demand. So somebody's going to want that in their rotation. One of these teams is in this lump of teams, maybe the top 5 or top 4. I told you there's going to be 2 or 3 teams that make the Seth Lugo type of moves. If the Royals are in position to do that, you hope they're not, but if they're in position to do it, you got to get something for it. Because, again, everything stays the same. What are you going to do to make a change? That would be a change for it. But if you're not going to, we know he's not coming back, so you might as well do it if you're not in contention. In contention, no way.
Yeah, someone says, what if the nice big contract he gets is with us? Could sign him. Well, you could do both, by the way. It's happened before in Major League Baseball history. You can be out of it, you can trade him, and if you really want him back and you can be competitive with your offer, you can trade the guy and sign him in the offseason. Who was it? I think was it the Cardinals that had a... Was it like Jack Flaherty or something?
Guys just come right back.
Yeah, I want to say it was, anyway, I thought it was Jack Flaherty. Same scenario where you trade him and you still sign him back in the offseason. So it does not eliminate that scenario, but you have to ensure yourself that you get something for him if the team is out of it. They're not out of it despite how bad they're playing on June 25th, but they could be on July 10th and certainly could be by July 30th.
Not winning a game in June kind of makes things clear. Got to start winning now. To go through a whole month and have a home win?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So anyway, in this article, Lugo's the player mentioned traded away from Kansas City. Now, they had a few players linked with the Royals in terms of going and acquiring to bolster the offense. The number 2 player listed on this entire top 50 trade candidate list. Number 1 was Alex Bregman of the Red Sox. He's currently hurt, if I'm not mistaken, but he was listed. 10% chance of him being traded. Duran there for the Red Sox, the young outfielder. He's got a 25% chance being traded. They list the Royals with the Padres, the Browns, the Braves, Cleveland, the Giants, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the New York Mets. Here's where I'm at on trading for anybody. If this team is going to actually go out and trade for a bat at any point, especially if they're out of it, it has to be somebody that has control beyond this year. Like Eugenio Suarez is mentioned. He's a rental. Marcell Ozuna.
Wait a minute, though. You can do a rental and a future player, though. So you need more than one bat. We know that.
Sure.
So if it was rentals, you could do that.
If you told me that I could trade for, let's say, Suarez and Taylor Ward or Suarez and Duran, maybe. But the rental thing, if they're making a trade and they're already 6 or 7 spots out, then I don't want a rental player. Now, if you tell me to make a trade in a week from now and they're 3 out or 4 out, then I would be okay with a rental. Obviously, I'm not giving up my number 2 prospect in the system for a rental, nor would they have to. I don't think you have to get Blake Mitchell to get Eugenio Suarez, okay? That'd be crazy. No. But if I'm going to involve Blake Mitchell in a trade, then I better be getting, like Duran at least has control through 2028. And I'm just using his as an example because he's pointed out here. I'm not saying that's the guy I want them 100% to go trade for, but I'm pretty steadfast on if I'm making a trade and I'm perceivably out of the playoff picture in 3 weeks, I do not want to be trading for rental guys. I want to be trading with guys to set me up for 2026 because I actually think they're in a decent spot for 2026.
Well, Taylor Ward, somebody like that with control through 2026, doesn't have a great average, hovering around, 210? He's got 19 home runs. That would help. And you still have that extra year of control with them. So somebody like that, I'm a big fan of bringing in Suarez. I know that the average is not there, but the power's there. The clutch genes.
So
there
he
with
plays
Suarez.
Third. So then what do you do with second base and outfield?
That would have to be
because Massey's about to come back from Omaha.
He's in rehab right now.
He had a nice night, by the way, down there.
It'd be moving Michael to the outfield.
So then what? So you would
just have to do things to get.
So you would have Kaggs in right. You would have Garcia in center. Isbell, even though he's a number 9 hitter, has been one of the better hitters. So then you have Isbell play left,
probably,
or Garcia play left.
Either one. But it would be Maikel Garcia going to the outfield. That would immediately make your outfield better at that point. And Suarez, hey, he's fine at third base. And you get the power number there, but you have to find a way to get him on the field. It's also a guy that can spot some DH at times.
Yeah, they don't have a problem with trying to find it. I mean, they got the DH thing is. I mean, they've had that's not an issue. My thing still is just the the idea, unless you're making the move like today while you're still only 3.5 back. I don't want them on July 15th, 7 spots out, trading for Eugenio Suarez. No, absolutely not.
You just don't touch Bobby, and you don't touch Cags. Everything else.
Everything else everybody else you should be willing to negotiate on something if it improves your team for 2026 and beyond. But I'm very close if the team is out of it in a couple weeks, that I don't want moves that are just going to benefit 2025. And I understand. I think Vern disagrees with me. We'll have Vern join me. He's like, based on them calling up Cags and the expectation of this year, that he doesn't think they should be sellers. But I think you can thread the needle and be both, right? You can be a seller that helps you for both this year and beyond. That's your ideal scenario. Rental players are just that. So
it's what Detroit did, to be honest with you. That's why they're so good, because they held on to people. They didn't panic in situations because they knew they'd eventually build that team for the long haul like they've done.
913-586-7965. Those are just a couple of the names that are out there linked. Also, Marcell Ozuna, Taylor Ward, and then, as I said, Duran in that same article.
Ozuna's got a little bit of pop. He's 240 hitter, something like that. 11
He's a rental as well, though. Yeah, he'd be a rental scenario. I think it's, Corbin Carroll headed to the IL for the D-backs. That makes them potentially sellers more realistic, and that means Suarez could be available.
Yeah, because Diamondbacks, started off trying to challenge one of the toughest divisions in baseball, fell off for a bit, made their way back a little bit, but certainly this hurts them. But the Diamondbacks are an interesting team, but I do think they're in sell mode at this point.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll talk about some comments from NFL experts about the last century of quarterback play that had Bink very upset, as I said, the minute I walked into the studio in the building earlier today. Yeah. But tonight, are you guys excited at all for the NBA draft? I know we're in Kansas City. We don't talk a ton of NBA, and I get we're not going to spend too much time talking about it. Don't worry. But it's also June 25th, and the draft is tonight. And I actually think name-wise and talent-wise immediately in the NBA, this is as good of a draft as we've had in a while. We all know the name Cooper Flagg, his time at Duke, and it's been known for 2 months or a month and a half, whenever since the lottery happened.
And we typically know he's going number one overall.
Dallas is going to draft Cooper Flagg, and he's going to be a stud. He's going to be a great two-way player in this league for a long, long time. I know some people have been critical of what is his best asset? He's just going to be a very, very good player in this league on a Dallas team that obviously lost Luka because of their own general manager's ridiculousness of trading him to LA, and now they get rewarded with Cooper Flagg. But you've got some guys at the top, and we can go through some of the prop bets that are going to have an instant impact. So, yeah, I'm excited tonight. I'll be honest, after the first 10 picks, I'm probably out, but that's just me not having a team to root for. I'm intrigued to see what Brooklyn does. They have 5 first-round picks, Bink. 5 of them.
Just Shams on Twitter will be enough.
Shams,
my bad.
No, I do the same thing.
I'll be watching the Royals. Keeping up updates, what's going on.
You can do both, man. You can do both.
Yeah,
you can do both.
For sure.
It's not exactly like there's a ton of offense at Kauffman Stadium these days. So
no, I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Let's keep coming back.
Yeah, you can
keep
different
results.
I think you can keep an eye on both. Mm. You said you're pumped, Drew.
I'm so excited. I love and CDOT, I know, follows the NBA. We do a little bit.
Yeah.
I love the NBA. I follow it a ton. I love basketball. So I'm very excited. I will watch.
You're from the basketball state.
I'll watch tonight. I'll watch tomorrow. I'm a sicko when it comes to
the first
NBA
2
draft,
picks are pretty much locked in, right? Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper.
Yes.
Those are pretty much locks. It gets a little interesting at 3. The favorite is the Edgecombe, but Trey Johnson from Texas, there's a chance that Ace Bailey from Rutgers, right? His whole story
is not working out.
Is weird because maybe getting some bad advice. He refused to work out with the Sixers because maybe he knows he wouldn't play right away. And then the way he's gone about his business has been kind of bizarre. So a lot of people a month ago maybe thought Ace Bailey would have been a top 3 pick. He's now 6-1 to be the number 3 overall pick. So that's where things start to get interesting. Then at number 4 overall, again, that's where Ace Bailey potentially could go. You've got the Con, what's his name?
Con Knipple?
Knipple could end up going number 4 overall.
He's going to be really good.
Who give me a sleeper. Who do you think is not going to go top 5 that you actually think is going to end up being a stud in the league?
So a stud in the league is, oh man, that's tough. One guy to watch is Carter Bryant from Arizona. He's got the freakishly athletic measurables where I think he could go top 10. He didn't put out much production at Arizona.
I got my answer already for you. You know who I'm going with.
Based
off the Final Four. No. Walter Clayton Jr. Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida. That he, by the way, he probably will be a top 20 pick. I would say probably like 15 to 20.
There was one team whose name I don't remember who it was. There was a team that floated 20. Who's at 22? The Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn.
Who knows what Brooklyn? They got 5 picks. They might trade out of that.
I think Brooklyn likes Walter.
He's my sleeper pick. If you want to even call a first rounder a sleeper, Walter Clayton Jr. might end up just being a stud in this league and is going to fall outside the top 10.
One guy who I think could be really good is Derek Queen from Maryland. Had the game winner against Colorado State. People think he traveled, but anyways.
Oh, that was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I think Derek Queen, I don't know if he's going to be a star necessarily, but I could see him being a really solid role player to being a good number 3 option for your team. I know it's hard to say that now. Obviously, he might even be better. I think VJ Edgecombe could be freaking good. If he gets a solid jumper, the man's got like jump out of the gym abilities.
Yeah, somebody was asking about the local guys. Not the best year for
Tamar
draft.
Bates is the name from Missouri that's mentioned most.
Yeah, not the best year if you're looking for KU, K-State, or MU prospects to get drafted. Tamar Bates would be the only one, and I was going on a couple. So here's where a couple of sites project him. So the Athletic says he's undrafted. Doesn't mean he will be, but it's the number 72 prospect. ESPN has him undrafted, number 63. CBS Sports has him also going undrafted. So remember, there's 59 picks in the draft, and they have him at like 63, 64. There's a chance. But you know this. There's sometimes where if you're going to be the 59th pick, much like in the NFL, sometimes with the undrafted guys, you can end up in a better spot if you're Tamar
100%.
Bates. In a weird way, you almost don't want to be. You want to look. You can always say you were drafted. That's a very cool thing to say.
You can pick and choose where you go.
But if you're going to be 59th, you kind of would rather be the guy that gets a deal somewhere else that has a chance to actually find a role immediately as a bench player or something like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that with the NBA draft, it's not. I think it's a turnoff for most American audience is the second round. We find those flyer picks on the international guys. Nobody knows who they are. It's a guy that's 17, could be good, could never play a day in the league, and they get picked at 42. And people are like, man, I don't know about this. Or they could turn it to
baseball draft. You get the baseball draft at that point.
Or you could turn it to Nikola Jokic. So there's one of two ways that it can go in the second round with those picks. But the guy just because you might see top player in college basketball, but the college game is so much different than the NBA, and you know this, Gold, just from watching college, like Hunter Dickinson. Good college basketball player, but that's what he was a good college basketball player.
That's why NIL is so important now, because some of these guys are great college players before they would not have made really any money. Now you make your money in college while you're valuable, and then
100%.
Look, if you don't have a future career playing in the NBA, also we all know international, you can make actually some good money playing overseas for some of these guys too that may not get drafted tonight. A lot of them could end up playing in Europe or wherever.
I just always think they're smarter in this because they get to go to the combine and they determine whether you're going to go to the NBA draft or not, or should you go back to school.
The NBA is good about that. There's a lot of guys that
part
came
I
back.
think is cool.
There's a lot of guys that came back. Well,
other than that, all the trades that happen and guys you think are on your team end up on another team and everything else.
What do you guys think the Thunder do? They're obviously the defending champs now. They just won the NBA Finals, and they've got a couple. They have they have 2 picks in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, tonight. So what do they actually try to do? Do you guys think they're going to package those? They have pick 24? I think that's the Clippers pick. And then I think they're in the teens as well. I'm looking at a mock draft at this point.
Are they like
15? It looks like that's Miami Heat.
I'll tell you what, they
do they package those and try to move up, or do you think they just stand still?
I think they stand still, but I wouldn't. I think they might try to package it to move up to get somebody because the roster is so deep, anyways. Like I don't know where else they. Like, what else do you need? Like, is there a specific
or just trade these picks for future picks next year and the year after?
Honestly,
unless there's a surprise trade. I mean, we've had some. Obviously, the Kevin Durant trade that already happened. What's his name got traded from Drew Holiday or
Drew Holiday
got traded from and the Celtics are clearly looking at next season without Jason Tatum.
Got traded as well.
Yeah, the Celtics are taking we're going to save some money next year, and knowing that Jason Tatum is probably not available most of the season.
The thing that's interesting too, like the Pacers most recently during the finals got back their first round pick for next year before the Hallie trade. Now with things looking the way that they are potentially going to be, maybe that pick actually ends up being a little bit better.
How the hell was Rutgers so bad last season? So Rutgers ended up with 15 wins, and they're going to have 2 top 5 picks in the NBA draft. And it's like, what? One, they got the talent clearly. But that's bizarre. They never got it together. They
More
didn't
of an
make
individual thing than a team thing.
I know, but two top 5 picks potentially.
It definitely screams same thing kind of at Georgia when Anthony Edwards went number 1 overall. Georgia was not good. Anthony Edwards
But
was
do
great.
they have 2 guys? It's one thing to have a player. That happens all the time.
I think they had a couple guys who got drafted, but it wasn't
Top
like they
5?
had two top 5, 2 top 10. I think it's just talent wasn't. It was just a bunch of talent that just got thrown onto a team and wasn't that great.
Yes, NBA draft tonight, night number 1. Keep an eye on that this evening, and I'm sure if anything notable happens this evening or any surprises.
Rutgers comes up a lot on our show.
They do. They get a lot of. Well, Isaiah Pacheco's a Rutgers guy. They do. Usually, Rutgers is used as the example of like, hey, the NCAA tournament wants to expand. We don't need more Rutgers in there. We just need.
In fairness, Rutgers might have actually benefited from expansion.
They were
in that
15 or 16 win team this past season.
They were about 500.
Again, coming up in about 8 minutes, we'll get back to the NFL and some comments from some experts, and you want to hear Bink's reaction to that. But you guys remember the show Fear Factor, I'm sure. Did you ever watch that?
Maybe initially.
I guess
when it
they're
first started.
bringing it back. Johnny Knoxville is set to host the upcoming Fear Factor reboot. It premieres later this year. In
What
or
channel?
out?
Is this a stream thing? Or is
It's probably streaming. I don't know. Fear Factor.
Screams like, I mean, it was on NBC before, I believe.
Because Rogan hosted it back in the day,
So it'd
right?
be Peacock.
Yeah.
It was started in 2001 and it ended in 2006. But it's going to be for Fox. Let's see if it says it's going to be on streaming only. Network announced in May. Blah, 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 blah. Fox is promising to bring it back. I think it's going to be on network.
Wow.
Does Fox even have like a streaming platform like that?
Not really.
Fox is.
They have a Fox Plus.
They're casting now, Bink.
Oh.
For quote knuckleheads age 18 and above.
Bink, Fear Factor, that screams you. I think
No.
you'd be. I think no.
Some of it. I'm not gonna sit there with like spiders and snakes and stuff like that. I mean, I'm out.
Do you think though that
Some of the
we
stuff
need
maybe.
another reboot? So they had the show from 01 to 06. Then Ludacris hosted a version of this on MTV for like a year or two, and now they're gonna. This is the third. This is like the second reboot, the third go around for Fear Factor.
That's never a good sign. When they're like
Johnny Knoxville, I guess is fits, but
I don't know who that is, by the way. I
what?
apologize
Oh
to
my
Johnny
gosh!
Knoxville. I don't know who that
Drew.
is.
Are you serious?
If I saw his face, then
You ever
maybe.
seen Jackass?
Yeah, the show, the movie. You've ever heard of that?
Jackass?
Was that before Drew? You're 28, right?
But he comes to Big
29.
Slick all the
29.
time. I don't think he was there this year, but he comes to Big Slick all the time, Knoxville.
Okay, let me see.
You've never heard of Johnny Knoxville?
Jackass? The
I've
movies?
never watched that movie.
TV show, Jackass.
Yes, we got it, Bink.
You heard of
Thank
Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
You heard of Cheers?
I think I guess I've seen this person. I didn't know who he was.
This is where that age thing just hits you, man.
It's not Bink. I have a ton of friends who
But Jackass, man.
I have a ton of friends who love that movie. I never watched the movie.
It's a TV show, too.
Yeah, I understand that, but I didn't watch it.
You ever heard of the Flintstones?
Yes, I watched the Flintstones. Actually, I watched.
I Dream a Genie?
My wife and I watched the entire Flintstone series
You're
after we were done with
Flintstone and
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. I knew it. Yep, I was gonna say Scooby-Doo.
But Beavis and Butthead, that would have been.
Someone
still
says
you.
Knoxville was here this season or this year
Oh, is
at
he?
Big Slick. Also, someone said they're
He
20.
comes a lot.
They said they're 23. They've seen every one of Knoxville's shows and movies of that series.
So Drew, I'm 23 and I love Johnny Knoxville. Look, I don't know who he was. or who he
True.
is.
I thought I was unhip.
Was
Seriously, I
he
thought I
on the
was until now.
Flintstones, Bink, or is this a?
No, they were
Okay.
a Jackass. I thought
You
I thought I was the idiot when it came to pop culture and stuff, and clearly I'm not.
Hold on. Did you just ask, was Johnny Knoxville on Flintstones?
I don't know how old he is. I don't know how old he is.
I
I have
guessed
no
that.
idea who
No,
he is.
Drew did.
Oh, Drew did.
I have no idea. It's because
Yeah,
Bink
he was
said
with
Flintstones.
Fred and Barney.
No, he was
Barney?
Just yeah.
How you, Fred?
Barney Rubble was Johnny Knoxville.
I love the Flintstones.
I mean,
love
honestly,
that show.
that's shocking.
Someone said it's totally unacceptable.
It really is.
Drew, I thought I was unhip. Seriously, that's.
You should
It's
watch
not
watch one of the Jackass movies.
You make me look hip, Drew.
Has Drew heard of MTV? Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, up next.
MTV Cribs? That was my show back in
You
the
did
day,
watch
man.
that.
I
Okay.
loved
What
it.
about
if you
Hit
seen
My
that-
Ride? Did
if
you
you
watch
seen
Hit My
that,
Ride?
Beavis and Butthead.
Every now and then, yeah, Pin My Ride, but it was definitely MTV Cribs time, or a while and out.
So the magic happens.
All right, up next, guys, we'll get to some comments about quarterback play in the 21st century that had Bink very upset this morning. And thinking of Rutgers, they might be happy about the latest update around college basketball.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
FanDuel, because nothing says summer fun like adding excitement to the game while your friends might be out there getting sunburned at the beach or at the lake. Summer sports are calling your name. Baseball under those stadium lights, golf on pristine green fairways, soccer matches with world-class goals, and all the action-packed moments in between. You're going to spend all day following your favorite sports on your phone anyway. Might as well make it more thrilling with FanDuel. Open that app today to see the daily promotions. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get started. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 60 months on brand new Rogues and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months. Even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Looking for power? Get up to $6,000 in total rebates on new Frontiers. And don't miss 1.9% APR for 60 months on the bold and stylish Murano. These are some of the lowest rates we've seen all year, and inventory's moving fast. Visit Reiselman.com for full details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
In a world parched for excitement, Twisted Tea's your refreshing thrill ride of flavor. The hard iced tea that's smooth, made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. That's Hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is on now. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City. Proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch every show, plus video clips and shorts, all right from your phone, desktop, or tablet. The Fan's YouTube channel at 965 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Oh, wow. We're just slowing things down a little bit here. Okay, Drew. 11 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Just calm down, Drew.
Oh, Bink, let me ask you, do you have the wedding ring on today? Thinking of love life. And
you don't do it's what, 5 days in a row?
Did you lose the ring? Did you lose it?
Yeah, let's be honest.
I don't know exactly where it is.
Finally!
But I've got
It's been a week.
You said you had 2 of them.
Hang on. I have the silicone one. Bink, you're just not noticing this. This has been going on for at least a month now.
But you told me you always wear it.
You lost the ring, man.
It's been going on for a month now.
Does she know? Does she know you lost it?
Yes.
Did you have insurance on it?
No.
Then why weren't you just honest and say, Jay, I've lost it?
The good thing, though, is that, look, if you...
Maybe you should tattoo it like Kramer's doing.
When you get...
All right, just fade this music.
When you get... When you get married, either of you, the next time you got Bink, if you,
I love how you just said the next time you get married.
Bink, the next time you get married, if you do, Gold, when you get married, go to manlybands.com. I think is what it is.
Manly what?
Manly Bands. I told this to Kramer. It's like $250. You got a titanium one and a silicone one. I mean, I think it's pretty clutch.
So you're gonna have to get a new one, is what you're saying.
Yes, I didn't have insurance. I don't know if they offer insurance.
Does she know you lost it until the show? Because clearly we've been talking about it.
No, she doesn't listen to the show very often. I would say no.
I don't blame her,
Again, it's been over a month now that this has happened. It's just now being realized.
Why weren't you honest with this? Say, guys, I lost it. You didn't say that. You said, I'll have it tomorrow. Why did you say, guys, I lost it?
Because he wanted to keep you guessing, I think, a little bit,
You know what,
too.
Bink? I'm doing this on purpose now where even when I do get one back in, I'm not going to wear it just for the sake of
Drew's a
you
single
and
guy,
conversation.
man. Drew's a single guy.
That's not true.
Right? Appears that way.
Text line actually liked the music choice, Drew. Just kind of, just different mood, different vibe all of a sudden.
It was 70s porn music.
Coming up in
It
about
was close
17.
to the What's Your Fantasy Bed.
Close, not nearly. It was just
Not
some jazz a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Coming up in about
Relax a little
17 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. But when I walked in, I've said this a few times. When I walked in today, Bink, normally I'll set my backpack down, get my laptop out, and there'll be a second. I'll just get set up before we start having a conversation. And Drew shows up. We go and we have our meeting and everything. And Bink, I'm sitting down for 30 seconds. And you said, "Did you hear what so and so said?" And just start, dude. You were just going on a rant. I hadn't been in the building for 30 seconds. It was crazy, and it was all because
you're like, "How are you?" And I told you.
Yes, there is a podcast called Check the Mic with Steve Palazzolo and Sam Munson. We've had Steve Palazzolo on the show. He used to be with Pro Football Focus. He's now with, I think it's the CTM show, which is this whole thing. Anyway, they were talking about ESPN, who did their all-quarter century team, which is all-quarterback century team, right? And there were some comments said there that got you upset. Let me just play you a snip.
25% through it.
Mm-hmm.
The centuries.
If my computer lets me play it.
I think when you're talking, there's a difference between who is better, who is more talented, who is,
Don't say talented. Don't say talented.
No, shut up.
Don't say talented.
There's a difference between who has a greater degree of ability or ceiling or whatever, and who has had a greater impact over this century, which is 25 years old, but we're only going to count 5 years for one guy. Rodgers has had a greater impact on the 21st century NFL than Mahomes has, I would say. In part because he's played for the majority of it and had he's won a Super Bowl, multiple time MVP as well. Mahomes had incredible impact already in just a few short years.
See, I think
those few short years are so small compared with Rodgers.
I think it's fine to focus on a player's best 7 or 8 seasons as the main criteria because then it's okay, just because Aaron Rodgers was born earlier, he's going to make the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how these things work. I mean, Larry Allen doesn't make the team because he was born 5 years too soon, and half his career happened in the 90s. Like, that's just the reality of it.
So that was Sam Monson.
Which, here's the thing. I respect, like, Sam's work. This isn't just somebody out there throwing. This isn't just some random guy on there. I respect his work and what he's done to this point. And now I question everything I ever hear out of that, because this is the most asinine argument I've ever heard. And I don't care that Aaron Rodgers has started more than Mahomes. I'll just say this. There has been 2 dynasties in the National Football League this century. One is the New England Patriots, which Tom Brady's number 1 on there, and number 2 is the Kansas City Chiefs. That is a fact. That's not even an argument. It's a hell of a lot more than what Aaron Rodgers accomplished in Green Bay. All right? Has he won 4 MVPs? He has. But if you look at this, Aaron Rodgers didn't go to 7 straight championship games. He didn't go to 5 Super Bowls. He doesn't have 3 Super Bowl rings. Mahomes does. Mahomes has been to 5. He's been the AFC title game every year of his career. Not only that, Aaron Rodgers has 12 postseason wins in this big 20-year history, right? Mahomes has 17 playoff wins already. That is number 2 all time, only behind Tom Brady. So, yes, Mahomes has meant more to the NFL than Aaron Rodgers at this point. It doesn't matter it's Aaron Rodgers. It could be any quarterback we're throwing out here, Peyton Manning, whatever. Mahomes has won more championships. Fact. Been to more AFC title games. Fact. He has changed the game, because now, guys, when you hear now through the draft process, this guy's got a little Mahomes in him. Now Mahomes is that guy. But they say, I think this guy can do some things Patrick does. But he has made an influence. Heck, the Nebraska quarterback Arola has a haircut like Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, he does.
But he did a lot with less, too. And I know we looked at Aaron Rodgers. Some of his offenses weren't great. But I look at this team. They won 15 games. They didn't have Hollywood Brown for the whole season almost, except for the very end of it. Rashee Rice gets hurt in game 3. They still make it to the Super Bowl. That is leadership, and that is carrying your football team forward. So, again, if we're making the argument and you say, who's got more rings? Well, that's Mahomes. Who's been to more title games? That's Mahomes. If you say, who's won more playoff games? That's Mahomes, 17-12. In almost every category, it's Patrick Mahomes except for total MVPs, in which Patrick's got
Bink,
2 of them, and he'll clearly get
If it
4.
was tennis, then you would be right. If it was tennis or golf, you would be right. But it's a team game. So I think that's where you can't say QB wins is what puts Mahomes over the top.
Name me the dynasties in the National Football League. Name me the dynasties in the National Football League. No, we're doing the century, all right? 2000. No. Name me the dynasties in the NFL. Name them.
The Patriots and the Chiefs.
Okay. Now, who are their quarterbacks?
I understand
Brady and Mahomes.
But again,
that is your 1 and 2. You just answered your own question. They're a dynasty. I don't care if he played 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. What he's done in those years is insanity, and nobody can match it except for Tom Brady.
If we're talking about quarterback play, this is what we're talking. We're not talking about team play. We're not talking about runs. We're not talking about wins. We're talking about quarterback play. Tom Brady is not a top 2 quarterback this century in terms of play on the field. He might not even be top 3, Bink.
Oh, just
Tom Brady
I would
might not be
with some
top
of the yardage
3.
and touchdowns he was putting up after 40 years old.
I could tell you right. I think Mahomes is a better quarterback in terms of quarterback play. Patrick Mahomes is better. Peyton Manning is better. Aaron Rodgers is better. You could almost argue that Drew Brees was a better
Aaron
quarterback.
Rodgers. It could be any quarterback. I'm just saying to not have Brady and Mahomes as 1 and 2 is asinine and shows lack of football.
Yeah, so overall, a couple things. One, I don't think it's as outrageous as you do. I'm not saying I agree with Sam Munson's take. I also am with you that whether it's 20 years of Rodgers versus 9 years of Mahomes or whatever, that should not be the criteria, because Mahomes has done plenty and more, in fact, during his time. So I don't disagree with your overall point. I also don't think it's like this crazy. It's like I've seen comments on the post as well. I don't think Sam Munson's take about Rodgers is actually as crazy as you think it is, though. I think there is an argument to be made there, and he tried to do that.
I don't see an argument.
I hear you, but at the same
time, every year the guy's been a starter. He's been the AFC title game or Super Bowl.
100%.
No other quarterback can say that.
100%. But again, remember the conversation they were having is the influence, not who is the better, who accomplished more. That's not their argument.
The influence
though,
on the game of football with Patrick Mahomes is higher than anybody else.
I understand, but there were times, if we're doing that, Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers, some of the things that Mahomes does, those guys were doing before Patrick Mahomes. You would agree with that from a true throwing aspect?
A lot of them was highlighted, but no looks and stuff like that. Both of them did that.
Right, okay.
Agreed.
But I'm with you on. I don't disagree. I'm with you for the most part of the take. You're acting like it's the worst take you've ever seen from this guy, and I don't think it is as crazy. I also think this will be like the one thing I don't get that actually annoys me more than anything with this entire thing is for 2 to 3 months in the summertime, we have this kind of crap that does come and try to discredit Mahomes in a certain way, and it's very weird. I guess this is how LeBron fans have felt for the last decade, probably. In their case, it's September, October in the offseason, August, September, October, whatever, of the NBA offseason. This trying to knock down somebody and discredit what Mahomes has done stuff, that is weird. It happens every single summer. I guess that's what happens when you're viewed as the best, and no matter what sport you're in. But yeah, I don't think it's a completely asinine take on his part. I disagree with it. I think this will also be a take that if we were to fast forward when Mahomes has played 15 or 20 years in the career, then it won't even have any part to discuss with anybody.
I agree with you because I think we do recency bias a lot when it comes to the sports argument. What have you done lately? But the one thing is, if you look at the quarter century, the last 25 years, you have to bring up Mahomes. That's the story of the NFL. The Chiefs' ratings are through the roof. 2 years ago, 93 of the top 100 television programs were NFL games. 15 of those games were Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs were the first ever playoff game on Peacock, the first ever game on Thursday Night Football on Amazon, and the first ever football game on Netflix. All that stuff is because of what? Patrick Mahomes' influence on the game. He has changed the game. Now draft picks are being compared
that's where
to
we get the split. That's where we get the split, though, of the franchise versus everything else.
Listen, if Mahomes is just Josh Allen or whatever and winning games and winning awards like MVPs, that's the argument there. I'm just saying this guy wins. This guy, every year he's been a starter.
Nobody's debating.
Every year he's been the starter. And we're almost to a decade of him starting.
You know who also wins?
Every year he's been there.
You know who
he's
wins?
got 17 playoff wins. That's the name of the game, is winning in the postseason.
You know who wins?
Which this dude does.
So Brock Purdy is better than Aaron Rodgers. Because you know who wins? Brock Purdy wins, Bink.
Brock Purdy does not have a ring. Rodgers does.
I think that Caleb Williams was compared to Patrick Mahomes, but people asked Caleb Williams who he looked up to. He said Aaron Rodgers. As far as I'm concerned, when Sam Munson says influence is there, that can be backed up by Caleb Williams saying, I love Aaron Rodgers. I tailor my game after Aaron Rodgers. That means something. In terms of influence, I think it has to.
Well, Caleb was talking a lot of trash because people were saying you're the next Mahomes and all this. So he was like, no, backing off that.
So now it doesn't matter because he was talking trash.
I'm just saying, Drew, it's hard to make an argument if you look and say, all right, 25 years into the century, some guy's gone to 7 title games in the century. Somebody's been to 5 Super Bowls. Somebody's won 3 of them and the MVP of all those games. Somebody has 17 postseason wins, number 2 all time in the NFL. The argument's over.
We need to start talking about
the conversation is not who's the better quarterback over the last 25 years. Again, that's the point.
But
that's not the question. Nobody's. Who would you rather have as your quarterback to start one game? That's not the same conversation. Obviously, Mahomes would be the answer, not Aaron Rodgers.
I just think his influence on the game of football is even more to this point.
Yes, I would agree with you, as I said. But you're acting like that Rodgers is miles and miles different on this.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, at reserve right now, it's Brady and it's Mahomes.
I think the 75 brings up a good point.
I don't care what other quarterbacks you throw out there. I don't care if it's Manning or anybody. It's Brady and Mahomes.
Hey, 785 brings up a good point. Michael Vick might have changed the game as much as Patrick Mahomes has. If we're being honest, in terms of dual threat quarterbacks, Mike Vick is up. Mike Vick has been more influential to the game in terms of changing it than Tom Brady has. In terms of dual threat ability and the way that we see quarterbacks now, Mike Vick is in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to do those comps, though, I mean, to Bink's point a little bit, then like Mahomes is the Steph Curry of the NFL, though, in terms of he changed the game and how he plays, right? Like that's a comp that people have used plenty when we're talking about cross-sport comparisons.
Sure, yeah. I don't have a problem with that being said, but I don't think we can act like. Do you think Tom Brady's deserving of being in this conversation?
100%.
He was number 1, by the way, on ESPN's All Century. Understandably so.
You think about dynasties, it's been Brady and it's been Mahomes. Then Brady did the mic drop. It was, okay, what do you do when you separate Brady and Belichick? One team went in the crap hole and one won a Super Bowl. The one that won the Super Bowl was Brady. That's the difference.
I think we're mixing influence with just who's the better quarterback or who accomplished more.
I just think in the grand scheme of things, I look at that. It's just You know, this team that was starving for quarterbacks, a team that hadn't gone to the Super Bowl since the late 60s, early in 1970. And all of a sudden, a team that hadn't won a playoff game in 21 years, they drafted Mahomes, and all of a sudden, he's second all time in playoff wins. Yeah. That is insanity for a team that hasn't won 21 years.
We'll get back to this later. I knew this was gonna. I knew if we wouldn't have, Bink would have, you would have kept talking for 25 more minutes about this. We'll get back to it.
Well, Drew
later.
and I talked for half an hour on college football last night.
I know
so
you did.
We could have probably done more.
We'll get back to this. I promise. We're also about 5 minutes away from the trash of the day. But we were joking about the NBA draft in Rutgers for a second, just based on them having probably 2 of the top 5 picks. But yet they won 15.
Jersey.
That's right. Pete Thamel reported, though, that college basketball could have tournament expansion by the middle of August. That decision from the NCAA could happen by then. It points out, though, that it would be no more than 76. So we're finally, it's going to happen. It seems inevitable at this point in time. I don't know why we got to wait till middle of August, but whatever. It doesn't really matter, I guess. No more than 76. I was happy to see that they're not trying to take the massive leap, even though I think eventually we're going to end up with like 92 teams in this field. I just don't get it. It's not better for the sport. We know the entire sport is around the tournament. That's what most people watch, because in the regular season, college basketball can be brutal to watch these days. Although I think their coaches challenge thing should hopefully help the final 2 minutes of the game not drag on for a half hour. Hopefully in the next year or so they approve the switch to go to quarters away from halves, which would also cut down on the foul situation and the constant free throws in the final 5 minutes of college basketball games. But this does not make the tournament better. Expanding it to 76, if that's the number they choose, does not make it better, because truly, I know we were joking about Rutgers as the example, but I do not need the 12th best team in a conference of 16 or 18 or whatever of the Big Ten. I don't need the 11th best team. They're not going to just add more mid-majors that lead to the upsets that we want in the first or second game of the NCAA tournament. So I know they're going to do this. I don't like it. I've yet to hear like a truly strong argument other than money that why this makes the tournament better.
It doesn't. And I know we look at football, and I know we'll be hypocritical here because we want the football playoff to expand to 16. But that's a good number. You don't go past that. There's the difference between expanding and expanding too much. Also, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I always think the NCAA tournament is just fine where it is. You don't need to keep expanding, because you're right. You do water it down, although someone could come in with the argument, well, other teams are better with name, image, and likeness, and they can, rise up and be better. Yeah, I can make that argument, but also say when a team makes a run, if you score 20 points a game in the MAC, you're playing the Big Ten the next year. I mean, that's how it works. You can't have sustained success. Like in the past, when you see North Dakota be a good basketball team because they have guys that have played together for 4 straight years, right? Well, now you don't see that anymore, because now guys will score 20 points a game and they join another conference. That's just the way things are now, and they get that money. And
Gold, I think you're right about it, where if you're going to reward mediocrity, which in all likelihood this is what it's going to do, because the teams like Rutgers that win 17 games, or Nebraska that won 16 games, or these other ones who are on the bubble that are bigger schools, like North Carolina was in that conversation. They of course got in, but if you're going to reward the mediocrity of these bigger conferences, then it doesn't need to expand. Where if you're going to include Boise State or Drake, then maybe I think we can fall in love with that conversation a little bit more than what we currently have. But we know that that's not going to be that way. We know it'll be for the Power 4 schools that happen to be 500 and really don't belong in the tournament.
Well, you don't want to hurt the regular season, but college basketball regular season's already hurt.
It doesn't matter to most people anymore. The
college
regular
football
season.
Regular season does matter, and they've been able to keep the integrity of the regular season.
The season
all
starts
while
in
having
March,
the
a lot of the
expanded
time.
playoffs.
Yeah, most people don't care about the January, 20th random.
No, it's NFL playoffs.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's absolutely NFL time. And a lot of it, though, is that the product, because of we already highlighted the final 2 minutes and these reviews and the referees staring at a monitor for 20 minutes, is obviously not something anybody wants to see. Now, in this report, it says that 76 is the more likely expansion option than 72. So it looks like the 76 is going to end up being the number. They last expanded. The big jump expansion, I guess, was in 85.
It's too much. But we see so much expansion. I mean, it's just Drew last night when we were doing this podcast, Division I's already up to 136 teams, right? I mean, teams just keep joining and jumping. For example, when Mahomes was drafted, there was only 128 teams, Division I. And now they're already at 136. Everything is about expansion.
All right, let's get to it.
Trash of the day.
Yeah, let's do it. We go to a story from the Associated Press for this one. We go to Bristol, Connecticut, home of ESPN. Firefighters had to rescue a man there. Police were called Sunday morning for a burglary complaint. They were told by Parks employees that someone was in the chimney. This was at a Connecticut Parks building.
Was it Santa Claus?
This was not a home. This was a Connecticut Parks building. Firefighters responded to the scene, got this man out after having to remove parts of the chimney and building, which caused $5,000 to $10,000 worth of damage. The guy was not injured. He was arrested, charged with burglary, trespassing, and criminal mischief. He was released on bond. Here's the story. They said the man got stuck near the flue of the chimney, a building that was there inside the park. Locks on the doors to the bathroom were on new timers and automatically lock at 10 p.m. every night. They said that the man was trying to retrieve his dog from a bathroom when the doors automatically locked. So he wasn't supposed to be in this building. That's why it was burglary. But his dog, he was trying to get his dog out. What do you do?
I get
Because what are you going to call the cops and say, hey, by the way, I broke into this building. I need you to help me get my dog out? So he thought, hey, maybe I can go in this chimney.
He went Santa mode.
Get this dog out. And instead he got stuck. And so it all obviously backfired on him. What would you have done in that scenario if you knew you had broken in somewhere, but you had to get your dog out of this room?
It wouldn't have been the chimney. I'll tell you that. It wouldn't have been the chimney. It would have been other means to get into the building.
What would you have done? You just would have broke. I mean,
wait until
they said the
I could get
bathroom
in.
doors were on automatic locks. I don't think you could just kick the door in.
I would have just waited it out.
Yeah, but how did the dog get stuck in there?
That's a great question itself, too, but it wouldn't be a chimney.
It says the door can be opened from the inside after they are locked. Obviously, the dog not able to unlock the door. Why did the dog just unlock the door? I mean, this would have solved this whole thing.
I would have waited it out.
The police officer said it's a bit of a crazy scenario. Our park staff is working with the police department, fire department to make sure this doesn't happen again. If he had just contacted police in the first place, we might have been able to avoid the situation. So are you saying...
might have been a better idea, actually.
Well, he caused $10,000 worth of damage. If he just would have been honest, like, hey, I think that they say the guy was homeless. No, I did not say that. I don't know. If he just would have been honest, said, hey, I wasn't supposed to be in here. I know it, but my dog's out. I need you to help me. And what would they give him a small little slap on the wrist kind of thing? I don't know.
I would assume
stealing anything.
But there was definitely a better way. I would just call the police first. What probably would have been better. Fireman would have been the best option. But he wasn't thinking clearly. Maybe he plays Santa in the offseason, right? And maybe he thought he could do it.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been in a chimney before? You know?
No.
No? Okay. Just curious.
Even if you're playing Santa, you're not going in the chimney. Let's be honest.
So says the dog had to go to the bathroom. Obviously, that's why he lives in the restroom. Yeah.
I don't know. There's weird places to take your dog, but you take your dog.
My guess is he broke in. He had to use the restroom. The person. And then he shut the door, and the dog was still in there. And then he was like, "Oh, bleep."
I wonder what kind of dog it was.
Does not say, Bink. Does it matter?
It does matter. Because some dogs can open doors.
Yeah.
They can. If they're big dogs. They can. Have you seen a dog open a door? I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've had I guess I say that my dog's done that before, yeah.
See it?
I haven't. Not like it's not like she's turned
the dog into opening
it hasn't
the door.
unlocked the door. I'm sure it hasn't
the door
turned the
was
knob.
the door wasn't locked though for her to open the door.
Wait, I know they don't have thumbs, but
yeah, my dog's open. Like if a door is closed and it's not locked, my dog's absolutely opened the door
See,
before,
Drew?
but not locked.
Have the dog open the door.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's the trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. Some very high praise for Patrick Mahomes, not just from Jay Binkley, but from the man that many consider to be the GOAT. And one stat that shows this offense has to get better in next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip
what in the bud? On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
Baseball season is in full swing, and that means the summer heat is coming. The guys at Climate Control have been serving KC homeowners for over 35 years and know how to get your cooling system ready to handle our scorching hot summer weather. Stay cool and comfortable this summer. Call Climate Control today at 816-265-2830 and schedule your AC system tune-up for just $59. Don't wait. Visit ClimateControlKC.com today. Climate Control Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is always finding ways to save me some dough, like new lower prices in every department. And on top of that, I save so much money at the pump with Hy-Vee's awesome Fuel Savers deals. I love watching the number roll back at the pump, and Monday, June 30th is for me. I'll earn a 40-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase, and you will too. So stock up for 4th of July weekend and stack up all of those fuel savings. It's awesome to save money at the pump, only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing says summer like a backyard barbecue. Invite your family, the neighbors. You can even include the entire Little League team. Hy-Vee makes it easy and affordable. This Friday through Sunday, save big on all your favorite flavors of summer, like John Morrell Frank's just 97 cents, Juicy Ripe Cantaloupe $1.99, Pepsi 6-pack bottles $2.99, and Lay's potato chips just $1.99. Hurry to the backyard barbecue sale and fire up the grill this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
Listening is so important, and that's what Dawn Sharp does. She listens to her clients' needs. Buying or selling a home is stressful, and you want an agent who puts your needs at the top of every single list. And you want to contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Ask them about their instant offer program. You can Google them at Sharp Homes Team, or better yet, pay them a visit at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
Allstate knows your home means everything to you, and you'll do anything to protect it. But not just with any protection. You want insurance that'll be there for you and your family when you need it most. And that's what Allstate's been doing for over 60 years. So check Allstate first for home insurance you can rely on. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Coverage subject to terms, qualifications, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The best moments in life weren't meant to sit in a box, gathering dust in the attic, or stuck on outdated tapes. They're meant to be seen, heard, and shared again and again. That's why Legacy Box exists, to help you preserve and relive your family's history. Imagine being able to text a video of your grandparents to your kids, or share a childhood memory with your siblings in seconds. Legacy Box makes it that easy. Just fill your Legacy Box with all your analog media. Send it to our headquarters in Tennessee, where we digitize everything by hand. And in just a few weeks, we'll send back your originals, digitized, preserved, and stored in the cloud, so you can easily stream, download, and share your memories anytime, anywhere. Join the millions of families that have trusted Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value for 50% off. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs, with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
The Chiefs Red Half Hour is brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. 1 hour from now, we'll talk some Royals baseball with Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, as the Royals continue their homestand tonight against the Rays. Obviously, they have lost 8 in a row at Kauffman, 15 of 18. They have not won at Kauffman in the month of June. We'll get Vern's reaction. Bink, you were listening to him a little bit last night. You said he was not happy.
No.
We obviously will talk some Royals with him. We'll also talk Royals baseball right after what's trending coming up 30 minutes from now. But in the meantime, let's talk some Chiefs football. We mentioned Fanatics Fest was going on in New York, or I guess Brooklyn, I think, specifically. And you had the celebrity access at this event is crazy, and you have all these former athletes and some current athletes there, and it's an unbelievable thing. It's the second year they've done it. And they already announced they're going to do it in the Javits Center again in 2026. But Kevin Hart was there, and he was doing his podcast, what's the name of it? It's the one where they do it in the cold tub, and he interviews people.
Cold as balls, I think, is what it's called.
Okay.
Where they basically sit in ice. They sit in ice
cold
baths.
tub, yeah. So
interesting.
Kevin Hart was talking to Tom Brady, and Brady gave some very high praise for Mahomes.
Who do you feel has the biggest opportunity in today's game to possibly duplicate a version of history? Like, do you feel?
Oh, Patrick.
Patrick, do you like Patrick?
Sure. Well, I just think Patrick, I love his mentality. And he's a guy that I see so. The great players that I played with, Patrick has their mentality.
Okay.
He has a will to win. He's got a desire every time he takes the field to be a great leader. And even more than his physical skill, what I always do with the guys is I listen to what they say all the time. I listen to what they say after they win. I listen to what they say after they lose. I listen to how they communicate to their teammates and stuff. So it's just everything he says is the right thing. It's like I think, okay, how would I answer that? And then he answers it in a very similar way. And that's what I really appreciate, because I know he's really connected with his teammates. So he's got a great organization, and he's got a great coach, great general manager, great ownership, and they've got the parts around him. So I think he still has the best to succeed.
So that was Kevin Hart talking to Tom Brady. Brady obviously praising Mahomes, saying like that's the one guy that, he thinks is closest to him in terms of a lot of factors, but his entire mentality. He said some similar comments like that before on a Fox broadcast as well. It's not the first time that we've heard Brady, discuss Mahomes' mentality and how he thinks he answers a lot of the questions the same way that he does. But that was just a recent comment, and it was just funny because the video of it, they're just sitting in a cold tub. They're both shirtless, just sitting, and Brady, here he is giving a serious comment about Patrick Mahomes.
On the tub. You like hearing that from Brady. You like hearing that from one of the Raiders' part owners.
True.
I mean, right,
True.
well, giving you praise, but there you go. That's the answer there. Hope Sam Munson was listening to that. There's two guys.
But that's not.
It's Brady. I know.
But
it's
again,
not.
that was not the conversation before.
Who's got the best chance to catch you? I think it is.
Not the combo.
I think it is Patrick Mahomes. To be honest with you, a few plays here and there, it should be a lot closer. Those rings, they could be very.
Yeah.
I think
the
honestly,
head-to-head was such a big deal.
It was. I think honestly, a few plays here or there, they could be each tied at 5.
Yeah,
right now
the head-to-head.
That's impressive because that. And not only that, throwing the interception, Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson at the 1-yard line, sending Marshawn, that gave Brady another ring. The D Ford offsides, that gave Brady another ring. I just think we could be seeing this thing 5 and 5, and then there's not really a discussion because then Patrick's going to end up being the greatest of all time. I just think a few plays here or there, and clearly the head-to-head made the biggest difference. But, but I mean, they could easily be 5 and 5.
Look, Patrick Mahomes is incredible. He's the most gifted and best athletic quarterback, most athletic quarterback, everything we've seen in terms of all the tools, everything. And I tend to believe he's going to win two or more rings before his career is over on top of what he already has. I really believe that.
Would you say go to 3, win 2 more?
Yeah, I think that's fair. But also, when you look at the conversation with him, to me, the whole convo about it had to have ended once he lost head-to-head. Right, like we cannot pick up that conversation again until
except during the regular season, he rolled him.
That doesn't matter in that debate. Now, if Mahomes gets to 5 rings, maybe you can start to have the convo again if we're just talking about the greatest of all time. But I think we
it's
have to
gonna
be
be a lot
honest with
closer.
ourselves. I know we're in Kansas City, but we have to be honest with ourselves. The head-to-head loss was devastating for this convo.
Flip the whole thing.
The chance to make it a wash, though, was last year. If you would have got the three-peat, something Brady never did, I would say that cancels out the head-to-head Super Bowl. And that to me would have erased the issue that we have here in this convo, but they didn't. And so unless Mahomes can get to 6 or 5, you can't even have that real convo about the GOAT. And that's, by the way, that is like, we're talking about literally the best. So you got to nitpick. You got to be specific. Would I rather have Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback than Tom Brady in their prime from making the throws kind of thing, knowing the defense that Brady had and the defense that Mahomes hasn't had at times? I would choose Patrick Mahomes. I really would. But at some point, like, we can't just act like the head-to-head didn't happen. We can't act like 3 is close to 6 when we're talking about Super Bowl
I'm
rings.
telling you, a few plays here and there, it's a lot closer.
But that means
Again,
a few plays here and there.
I'm just saying,
Dan Marino would have a ring if that was the case,
Pete
too.
Carroll
You know?
doesn't screw up at the 1-yard line with the Seahawks where they threw the interception, Brady's got one less, right? I mean, I'm just saying, default offsides, because keep this in mind. Brady won the coin toss, Patriots won the game. The rule wasn't
I was at
changed.
that game, yeah.
The rule wasn't changed until it happened to Josh Allen. They changed the rule. So Mahomes never had a chance to go back out there like the new rule is. So Brady took advantage of that. The Chiefs got screwed on that deal. I'm just saying, that's 2 rings right there. I'm just saying, the whole thing could be a lot closer than what people really realize.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I would love for us to be sitting here in a year and talking about another opportunity to go back-to-back, which obviously has only been done a few times in NFL history and all that. But, you know, the ring conversation, which is basically what we're narrowing this down to, I mean, there's the reality of, you can't just say, well, if this happened, we can do that for so many athletes in sports history, so many careers. Some guys would be Hall of Famers if one play happened and one didn't. If somebody didn't get hurt, then it changed. Like, we can play that game all day long, though, you know?
Luke Haver doesn't get hurt. Wade Davis is at the star.
Sure,
in
so
the
many
bullpen.
things.
We know that.
You know that. I mean,
but more of the conversation here that actually kind of what he was saying listens to what Patrick says before games and after games. And a lot of things is about saying the right thing at the right time. We talk about Anthony Richardson tapping out. Like, Mahomes would never say that. Again, you have to have guys buy into you and who you are. They have to want to come play with you. And not only that, when Patrick has that Camp Pat down in Texas, and those guys get to go down there, sure, that's a lot of value when they go in that football field. It's another value for them to eat together, hang out, play some video games together. It's one thing for Patrick Mahomes to play video games with rookies and second-year players. When he's Patrick freaking Mahomes, he still does. He's one of the dudes. And that's one of the things they strive for in the combine. Is this guy one of the dudes or not? And coming in, a lot of people labeled Jaden Daniels more of the dude than Caleb. And clearly Caleb goes in ahead of him, but a lot of people said, no, Jaden's the guy that kind of, hangs around the teammates. They like to play for him, and they buy into what he's doing. And you saw the success. You saw it translated. That's a big thing in the NFL. How much do your teammates like you? I know we joke around a lot about combine. Well, nobody went to his birthday party or whatever. They make that joke with Russell Wilson. You know what, though? That stuff does matter. Do they like you or not? That's the question, because guys want to play with Patrick because he inspires them to come and be better, and he treats people like humans. And he'll go out and have a beer with guys. He'll go out and hang out. Joe Montana, as good as he was, he would, when the Chiefs were in River Falls, Wisconsin for training camp, he would take the linemen and stuff, and he'd go to Bozeman Mine in downtown River Falls and drink brew with the offensive linemen. Why? Joe Montana was one of the dudes. He was one of the guys cracking jokes in the huddle against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Hey, there's John Candy. In a crucial moment in the Super Bowl, he was pointing out fans in the stands. That's being one of the guys. As far as transcending football and what it means,
I have a question for you.
Besides who likes football more, who do you want to play for? Like coaches, who do you want to run a wall through? And this is what they're trying to get with Mahomes when they're talking to other quarterbacks. How much do the other guys actually like you and want to play for you? Because that stuff matters.
I have a question for you, Bink. You think you think that Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT right now? Do you think Patrick Mahomes is? Would you label him the GOAT over Brady right now?
No, it's still Tom Brady.
Okay.
But Brady had
I don't know how anybody can answer that question any other way.
Brady had that attribute that Mahomes does. Guys wanted to play with Brady. They like to play with Brady. Brady humanized himself with the players.
Whether you are the GOAT or not, I don't think, again, this is a totally opinionated thing. It depends on what you value more. What you think is right is different than what Gold thinks is different than what I think. I think Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady ever was already. I can tell you that right now.
Well, we have made the GOAT conversation
so,
about rings. We as a society, unfortunately, have made it all about rings, and that's all that matters. That's the conversation that people have had with LeBron and
The thing
MJ
about Brady is
for 20 years.
I think he just kept getting better and better. They won both ways, which Patrick's kind of done that with defense, because the Patriots did that initially when they won their first Super Bowl. They won defense. When he had Randy Moss and Wes Welker, and he's putting up all those
got him
yards,
going now.
He never won
Bink's
a Super
out here
Bowl.
telling River Falls stories. I mean, we're just rehashing stuff from 30 years ago.
No, Bink, I think the thing that's interesting is how much, and somebody mentioned it on the text line, how much it parallels the MJ LeBron debate. Because to me, if you think Tom Brady is the GOAT, then you think MJ is the GOAT, and that's just the way that it goes. It should be that way because I think the conversation is the exact same. Where if you think that Mahomes is the GOAT, then I think you think that LeBron is the best player to play, because of all the other factors that factor into the GOAT conversation outside of just rings.
I agree with you. I think Mahomes has a lot of MJ. A lot of it.
No,
and he takes things personal.
No. I'm saying no. Patrick Mahomes is LeBron James in the conversation. He has less rings, but is arguably the better player. I think he's more of MJ. I think
Mahomes is more of MJ.
You're talking just his style and how he approaches
things.
Just
the drive,
Drew's talking about like the actual debate.
I understand that the debate to me is Mahomes is MJ. He's not LeBron. He's MJ.
Then Mahomes wouldn't have lost in a Super Bowl, and Mahomes would have more rings.
Mahomes is completely the guy. Hey, I'm going to play sick. I'm going to play hurt. I'm going to do whatever to win the game. That was MJ. Okay. I take things personally. That was MJ. That's Mahomes.
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's fine. We don't have to keep going in circles on it. I think both are correct. I think we agree Mahomes has a lot of MJ similarities. Drew was just saying that in the conversation about rings and stuff, Mahomes would be LeBron in this scenario and Brady would be MJ. That's all he's saying.
Okay,
that's all he's saying.
I just looked at the personal characteristics.
I agree. Oh, I agree. Someone said I should just shut the mic off and let Bink just see how long Bink can go.
Honestly, I'm just going to put the
just
talk NBA draft again.
Drew told me during the he was saying though that you basically kick somebody out of the bathroom during the break. Is that true?
Nobody was in there.
Well,
so I would have to kick somebody out, but nobody was in there.
Is that what got you fired up?
Nobody was in there.
Drew said you kicked somebody out during the break. You said I need this bathroom.
Drew made that up.
Get out.
No. I opened the door and
the cleaning cart was out there, but nobody was in there.
The clean lady was in there, and he was like, "Oh crap, I gotta go." Like Bink was ready to. Bink had to go. Regardless of whether she was in there.
Perfect.
Bink said he was going to ask her to leave. I think it'd be okay if I could just go.
This is why Bink came back all fired up, because he already was like, basically was barging in. I mean, it was.
I didn't barge into anybody. Nobody was in there. I literally pissed my pants.
Sounds like you were pretty close, Bink.
All right.
Drew, nobody was in there. You're the one that chickened down and went downstairs.
All right, let's talk about something that I think was evident. You don't even almost need this stat. If you watched the Chiefs last year, you probably figured that this wasn't something that they did well. Warren Sharp, earlier in the week, we discussed his stat about third down opportunities. They were great on third down, but how many times they had third downs, right? The Chiefs were in the middle of the pack, 15th and 16th, I think, Eagles and Chiefs. Warren Sharp put out completions of 25 or more air yards, so deep passes down the field. The Chiefs had the second fewest.
Yeah.
Arizona and Miami tied for fifth, or had 5 of them. So
which is no excuse for Miami either. With that kind
These
of
are completions, not attempts. These are completions down the field. Remember, for a while, Worthy and Mahomes could not get on the same page. You know, Worthy's stepping out of bounds. Mahomes was leading him out of bounds. It was a mess. The Chiefs only had 6 completions of 25 or more air yards last year. That puts them only in front of Arizona and Miami. That puts them behind Cleveland, who had 7. Now, the surprise, I will say there were a couple surprises here. You think Detroit, big play offense through the air, right? But the way they did it was a lot of yak, a lot of yards after the catch, because Detroit only had 8 completions of 25 or more yards down the field, air yards. And that's kind of crazy. You would have thought there must have been more. The best team, if you're wondering, the Packers, had 22 of them. Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Pittsburgh probably surprises you with that answer, unless you think they're just throwing it up to George Pickens.
Surprised me. Indianapolis surprised me, and Tennessee surprised me as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the middle, by the way, the middle of the pack would be if you had 11 or 12. Majority of the NFL had 11 to 12 completions of 25 more air yards down the field. If you want, once again, to be more explosive, if you want to vault yourself towards a top-tier offense for the most part, you got to have more of these. 6, can they double that? Can they have 12 of them? Think about it. You're going to ask them to have 20 of them like Green Bay. Can you go from having 6 completions, 25 or more air yards, to all of a sudden having 12? And we know who fits that. That's Hollywood Brown and that's Xavier Worthy. Those are the only 2 guys that are going to factor into this. You would agree? That's it.
100%, but they got this. It's one thing that some of these teams don't have. They have the speed to do it and the quarterback to do it. That's a frustrating thing. Miami, too, is a big surprise, too, because it's a ton of speed at wide receiver. They're not utilizing that speed. This is what this says. It's utilization of the speed that you have. That's why I've been more pumped up from what they have with Worthy coming back, and Brown knows the system. He was hurt. He was there every day and knows it. But the Chiefs had the capability to jump way up in this. This shows you the line, too. This shows you not the time to throw it down the field. But this stuff opens up the running game and everything else. But with only 6 passes, completions of 25 air yards or more, the Chiefs had the capability to jump way ahead of this. They just didn't do it.
And last year, I mean, I'm sure you guys can as well. I can picture at least 2 of them to get them to 8. You know what I mean? Those Worthy plays early on in the year. I mean, there's 2 or 3 of those where all of a sudden they have 9 and they're closer to the middle of the pack. The other part that helps here, it's not just Worthy and Hollywood Brown in terms of their speed down the field, but if Rashee Rice is available, his ability underneath to find space, that also is going to set something up down the field. As much as the running game can, I agree with you. But if Rashee Rice is the weapon that I think he can be, underneath, in space, Travis Kelsey, obviously, same thing. All of a sudden, over the top, you might have some opportunities that you didn't have last year.
I just think that's the biggest thing missing. And, of course, you understand why. Without Rice and Brown and these receivers. But you look at this in the offense, we talked about the third downs yesterday, but this is like the biggest thing that you would think would be changed this year. In St. Joe, you would have thought this would have been much higher watching what you did.
Oh, no question.
As you said, that Teddy saw bomb after bomb with this team.
I mean, isn't it the flip side? Like, I know you said that, like, the pass game will help out the run game, but isn't it also true where if you have an effective run game, that opens things up more where they ran the ball. They weren't, like, dead last in rushing attempts, but it wasn't like they were they didn't have, because Pacheco got hurt, Kareem Hunt just wasn't that type of back. They didn't have that explosiveness at running back where teams, not that they disrespected the Chiefs' run game, but they know the system that Andy runs. The running game wasn't that great anyways. They didn't respect the run enough. They didn't respect the run where they'd run, as Mahomes would say it, they'd run the shell defense all the time, and they would protect over the top because they knew that they could stop you with the 4 guys up front running the football. They didn't have to stop you.
No, it's a good point.
They didn't take anything else.
It's a good point, and it just shows when you start opening things up, though, you start backing those safeties off. When you're throwing that ball, when teams look at these stats, they look at these, the Chiefs aren't going downfield here. We'll creep up, we'll cream the safety up, and we'll hurt that intermediate game. We'll limit Travis Kelsey's yardage. We can stop the running game because the Chiefs aren't going deep. They don't have the talent to do it right now because everybody's hurt. They're not doing it. I mean, the proof is right here. They weren't throwing downfield. And
I did think it was interesting, though, of the top 5 teams in this, how many were playoff teams? In completions of 25 or more air yards. Packers, they were. Steelers were. Vikings were. Colts weren't. Chargers were. Cincinnati wasn't. So, it speaks to the Cincinnati defense, the problems. Obviously, the fact that they were there. And they
the Steelers were second?
Yep.
20. Yeah, and I'm guessing those were
moonballs.
Moonballs to George Pickens, man.
Pickens, man.
Russell Wilson just throwing that bad boy up. And then Tennessee, surprisingly, too, was ahead of Philadelphia.
Very surprising.
Buffalo, Seattle, Denver, Vegas, Carolina. Tennessee was ahead of all those teams. And again, Kansas City, other than Arizona and Miami, they had the fewest completions of 25 or more air yards. All right, Chiefs Red Half Hour, of course, brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. I saw this come across from Fox 4. I think it's a story from Ohio, but Fox 4 at least aggregated it and had it here locally. But there was a contest around New Heights, right? We all know that's the podcast with Kelsey, the Kelsey brothers. And they partnered up with an energy drink, and that's your territory, Bink. You got one right next to you today. I see it right over there.
Never had Accelerator, though.
And I guess it's called Accelerator. I'm not familiar with the brand either. And there was a contest and a deal that a man made. He got 25 cases of this energy drink and also a signed Travis Kelsey jersey. But this guy named Nick Jones had to get a tattoo, and not just any tattoo. It's a partially nude Travis Kelsey tattoo on his thigh. Okay? It's not...
It's not small either.
For those watching the video stream, I'll try to turn my laptop around. You can see it.
It is a big tattoo.
This is not a tiny tattoo. This is a big tattoo right on his thigh, and it's Travis Kelsey basically on top of a energy drink can, partially nude. Bink, the question for you, my friend, is one, You're the energy drink guy. You've got tattoos all over. So
actually, no and no.
So you tell me, would you have done this?
I would not have done this. I would not have done this at all. This is embarrassing.
Is there anything? 25? How did this guy agree to this for? He's not even getting much out of this. 25 cases of an energy drink. Who cares?
How about beer, Bink? 25 cases.
I wouldn't even do it for that. No. This is
the tattoos. Is an incredible tattoo.
But they have a half-naked Kelsey hugging a can. I mean, come on, man. Try to explain this one.
It's a pinup tattoo drawn by an artist there in Toledo, Ohio, and it depicts Travis Kelsey clad in a pair of cleats, socks, and gloves, riding a can of Accelerator energy drink as it blasted off with fire shooting out of the bottom of the can. To sweeten the deal, he did get that, as I said, a Travis Kelsey jersey. Who cares?
Who cares about that?
Dude, this thing is on his thigh. I mean, it's up there.
It's like getting world champions and lose in the Super Bowl.
Is this guy married? Do we know?
But he's
because
naked,
How are
Kelsey.
you explaining this one to a partner? You've got Travis Kelsey riding an energy can.
Well, I got a jersey.
I think you would, along with that, you'd also have to meet Travis. Like, Travis would have to be there himself, and you would have to do like a meet. You'd have to meet
I'm
Travis.
sure he did.
He didn't get enough at all for this trade-off. Like, did you just want to go viral? 25 cases in a jersey
to go viral.
You need to at least
question
meet
right there.
Travis, I think.
He wanted to go viral, 100%.
I mean,
and was he drunk when he agreed to it? Even though they won't do tattoos when you're drinking, but you question.
Drew, you got a couple tattoos. I guess I should ask you more than Bink.
No.
If Joe Burrow was riding a can of energy drinks and you could get a signed Burrow jersey and he would shake your hand and hug you,
he would do it.
Would you get a tattoo of Burrow anywhere on your body?
No.
He would do it.
You sure? You've got how many tattoos do you have? Well, I know the one behind you. The one. Well, I've seen 2 of them.
6.
Oh, that's one.
He would do this.
Do you have some hidden?
No. I mean, there's
the one on your right butt cheek.
No.
Your tramp stamp.
I do not have anything there. But
Your
no,
Burrow
I've got
tramp
6.
stamp.
I would not. I'm not getting anybody's face on my body.
What about a naked Burrow?
Someone says if the tattoo's paid for, they'd absolutely do it. Well, the tattoo was paid for.
This is embarrassing.
That's not a good enough trade-off at all.
It's embarrassing.
That tattoo also probably costs, like in terms of the cost of it, it's probably like $300.
Someone on the text line brings up a good point. They said, judging by Bink's last 50 minutes of talking about Mahomes this hour, they said you would absolutely do it if it was Mahomes' tattoo.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Text line skeptical of Drew. Oh, please. Drew would have every single Cincinnati player tattooed on him like that old Yankees man that has all the Yankees tattoos.
He would. He'd put Burrow on his face.
No.
So Kelsey riding a can of garage beer for the 25 cases of that, you're saying no.
We're good.
Is there I was thinking about this pre-show with you guys. Dollar amount wise, is there a dollar amount? For this exact tattoo, it would have to be over $100,000 easily. And you're like, oh, come on, you do it. No, I'm serious.
Life-changing money.
It would have to be $100,000 for me to get this exact tattoo on my thigh.
$100,000.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got it. So yeah, I got to clear 100. I got to clear 100. Is there a dollar amount? Would you do it for less?
No.
Someone said you could just cover the tattoo up. Sure.
You definitely be doing that.
So.
But I think 100 is pretty thin too, man. I'm serious. Man.
100K minimum is the starting price for me to get a tattoo
I'd
like
probably
that.
be
That's
$500,000
$500,000
to get this. I think Kelsey mounting an energy can. No. I can do it,
on
man.
your thigh.
It's self-importance, man. I mean,
this guy did it for
What's
I don't
that
know what.
tattoo
Like
of?
this guy did it for like $500.
Humping an energy drink.
This guy did it for basically $500 worth of energy drinks and a jersey valued at maybe $1,500 or
Taylor
something or $1,000.
Swift wouldn't even do this.
Well, obviously not. Yeah, I mean that goes without saying.
Drew would though.
So would I do it for $90K? No, I just said no. It has to be at least $100,000. Any tattoo, you guys know I'm not, so to get any, even if it was a small tattoo, not even a weird one like this, it would have to be at least a 5+ figure type of deal for me to agree to that.
For any tattoo.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, it would stand out with you because you're not a tattoo guy. And
Yeah,
people
it has
would
to be over
curious about,
10K.
hey, what's on your tattoo? Oh, it's naked Kelsey humping an energy drink. Like, you would have to explain this the rest of your life.
Excellent. So that reminds me of the guy that got the champ stamp. Remember that, the whole champ
I think this is
worse.
This is worse.
I mean, it is a massive tattoo of Travis Kelsey riding an energy drink right on his thigh, naked.
Someone said if
He's
from the
hugging the
816
can too.
From the 816, if Jay starts suddenly wearing pants to work, you know he got the tattoo.
Yeah.
True.
So it says the tattoo has a lot of red in it, so they said it'd be easy to cover up. I mean, yeah, he can pay to get it removed even if he wanted to. It's just this guy's not getting any money for this. He just did it, like you said, to go viral. All right, that's the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll get Bink scheduled for a tattoo appointment at some point for some ink here in a little bit. Up next, what's trending, and we'll talk more about some potential trade options for the Royals, both as sellers and as buyers, right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold.
You will not decorate my balls, period. I will decorate my balls.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5. The Fan.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. 0% APR for 5 full years on both Nissan Rogue and Pathfinder. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months or even 3.49% APR for 84 months. Bought your last car at 6, 7, even 8% interest, trade it in and drive off in a brand new Nissan and lower your monthly payment. Plus, get up to $6,000 in rebates on the rugged Nissan Frontier. And don't miss 1.9% APR for 60 months on the sleek and powerful Murano. No one in Kansas City has a better selection. Visit Reiselman.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Exercising and being outside are two things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities, and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings. Because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The Out of Options Podcast, with new episodes released every Tuesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals have lost 8 straight at home, 15 of 18 at the K. Game 2 of their series against the Rays is tonight, 6:40 first pitch, right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's On Deck show is at 5:30. He's going to join us in about a half hour to talk more about these Royals, who obviously just flat out cannot hit at Kauffman Stadium in particular. Michael Walker is on the mound tonight. Good news with him is he's got a 2.78 ERA at home since the start of last season. They, of course, are now 3 under 500 and trying to snap this long home losing streak.
Yeah, and I think a couple things to stand out, too. 0 for June at home. That's pretty bad, man, because we're almost out of June at this point. Haven't won a game at home in June. Lost 6 straight series at home. That's the importance of tonight than tomorrow, because you're not losing the 7th straight series at home. I'm not buying the whole, hitting the ball out of the ballpark at Kauffman Stadium, because other teams don't have a problem doing it. And I remember when Dayton Moore, he really consciously looked at the team and built the team around the ballpark. Something he learned from Bobby Cox in Atlanta. He wrote a book about that, too, how Bobby Cox, brought in players and stuff that were good at playing at home, like good around the environment. Like, that's what you do. That's your home field advantage, is bringing players in that are good in that kind of environment. Well, the Royals can't win at Kauffman Stadium, and it's a real frustration at this point. And we'll hear from Vern later, because Vern was pretty frustrated after the game last night, too. NBA draft, round 1 tonight, round 2 tomorrow. Cooper Flagg be the number 1 overall pick and head to Dallas. Is there a reason to watch it, Gold, or just is it a better reason to use Twitter and watch the Royals?
Yeah, I'll watch the beginning of it. Yeah, I'll watch the first 5 to 10 picks of the draft. I'll have the Royals game on as well. But after the first 10 picks, it's something I'll just follow through Twitter or whatever. But this draft class has a chance, especially at the top, to be as good as we've had in a while in the NBA. We all know Cooper Flagg is going number 1 overall to Dallas. And we pretty much know the first 2 picks. 3, maybe there's a little bit of a surprise. I'm curious what some teams do that have 5 picks, like the Brooklyn Nets. But I'm not going to be sitting there, especially with no local, the one possibility of a local kid getting drafted out of Mizzou, KU, or K-State is a Missouri kid in Bates, who's probably going to be undrafted. So it's not like there's a bunch of local connection to watch the entire first round for me. So
no. Get the point, especially tomorrow night. It starts to feel like the major league draft. Like, need to watch some film on this guy. I don't understand what this guy did.
2-night event thing's a little wild. Next up on What's Trending, this is a story we're going to actually talk about here in, 15 minutes or so. But the White Sox have banned a fan who heckled Diamondbacks' Ketel Marte yesterday in their game. For those who aren't familiar with the story, again, we're going to talk more about this. But basically, there was a fan that caused the Diamondbacks player to flat out break down in tears right in the middle of the game after some fan heckled him about his mother who had passed away in a car crash back in 2017. This was at a White Sox game during the 7th inning. The Diamondbacks manager, Torey Lovullo, came on the field. Bench coach, went out there to console him. Then they asked the fan to be ejected. They did eject that fan, and the latest update is that Major League Baseball has said, hey, yeah, you're banned, which they absolutely should ban him from every single park. We're going to play some audio of this coming up in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, these guys hear everything. They say they don't, but they always hear everything when they're on the next circle in the field.
Ridiculous.
But when you go that direction, it's one thing to talk about a player, his performance, what he's doing. All that stuff's fair game. But whenever you start talking personal stuff with their family and things like that, gone way too far. Dumb White Sox fan in this situation, completely dumb. Also, as far as baseball news, the Royals. Whit Merrifield finally announced his retirement. Your old guy. He used to come on with you guys all the time.
He did.
Cody and Gold favorite, Whit Merrifield. I always enjoyed Whit Merrifield when he came up, to be honest with you. He's just at the wrong age to get that big contract, because when he leads the league and hits for 2 straight years, you look at his age, This is a guy that could have banked in Major League Baseball for some of the production that he was doing with stolen bases and the hits. It's just unfortunate for him. He wasn't in the contract time until he got into his 30s, and then everything kind of dissipated.
Ended up playing, 9 years. I think overall service time was like 8 years, 8.1 years or whatever. Hanging it up at the age of 36. He last played for the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, he's had some great years here in Kansas City. Individual accomplishments, led the big leagues in hits for 2 seasons. But you're right.
And stolen bases and hits one of those years.
Yeah, we know about the timing of everything in terms of that. I was trying to look up, what do you guys think, real quick? What do you think he earned? Because he obviously would have earned way more if he was called up earlier. What do you guys believe his career earnings were? And he mentioned the reason why he retired also is that he's got I think his is it daughter or son? I apologize, I don't remember. It was born last March, and so this is just where his focus is at now. What do you guys think he earned in his big league career?
15.
Drew, you got a guess?
$37 million.
Close. 8 years in the big leagues, 4 different teams he got money from. $34 million.
I was 34. I was way off.
$34 million.
Just doing the Royals.
Of course, the biggest chunk of that coming from the Royals.
Really?
Obviously.
I didn't realize he made that much money.
Well, he was with the Royals.
He would have doubled, tripled that.
The contract they signed. The most money in a given year that he made with the Royals was $11.7 million.
Is he a Royals Hall of Famer?
No. You think he is?
2 All-Star games, led the league in hitting twice, led the league in stolen bases, twice as well. I think he's an argument for it, to be honest with you, for production-wise, because he was extremely productive when he was here.
Also, the era he was part of, unfortunately for him, it was not the. It was some bad.
It was bad
teams.
timing always with Whit, because he was supposed to be a guy called up in 15. Remember, he got the. I thought he was coming down to Kansas City. He would have got a ring, even playing just one day in Kansas City.
Correct.
He wasn't the guy they ended up calling up. To be honest with you, he was basically a Ben Zobrist after Ben Zobrist, to be honest with you, all the different versatility he had. But again, timing with Whit is everything, because he could have had the ring.
So congrats to Whit Merrifield on his retirement, obviously, what turned out to be a really great MLB career. We'll get to the Royals with Vern here at 12:30, but reminder, it is our lunch hour on Wednesdays. We're proud to talk about our lunch partner, Jefferson's. We had some fun watching some Royals games at Jefferson's during the postseason as well. And Jefferson's has a new happy hour. It's also going to save you some money. How about this? 7 days a week, half off appetizers, half off your bar tab at Jefferson's Lenexa or Jefferson's in North Kansas City. Half off your bar tab, both locations during a happy hour. Not to mention then on Mondays, it's all day happy hour. And they have these same great deals during a reverse happy hour, which is 7 days a week. So whether you're watching that game, looking for a good place to meet up with your family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa or North Kansas City, Jefferson's wings, burgers, oysters.
And I've done this, and I can verify it's an awesome deal.
Yeah, I love the corn nuggets and the honey barbecue wings, man. Corn nuggets, honey barbecue wings, my go-to. Every couple weeks we get some of those brought in, man, and that's my order.
What are corn nuggets?
So like inside of it, it's like it's hot. It's got corn in it, but it's breaded. It's fried or whatever. It's like corn. They're you can pop. You just keep popping them, man.
Okay.
They're great. Drew's tried them as well. I think he's on board with them now.
Yeah, they're very good.
Nick over at Jefferson's knows bring in some wings. That's an automatic.
I
gotta have the corn nuggets, man.
Well, I've been to both places.
Yeah, we've done some stuff at both locations as well. All right, let's talk some baseball. Not specific to last night yet. We'll talk about that with Vern, as we already touched on that a little bit. But last night could impact how you feel about this, which was Jeff Passan ranking out the top 50 MLB trade candidates. And the Royals were mentioned as buyers in a couple instances, but also one Royals player made the top 10 list of a player they believe could get traded. They put a percentage next to each player of the likelihood. Seth Lugo was 6th on this list, 40% chance, according to Passan, he believes that he ends up getting traded. We know the financial situation for Lugo. He has an opt-out. Everybody expects him to opt out at the end of the season, as he likely will have plenty of options to make more money than what his opt-in number would be to stay with the Royals. And yeah, there's a scenario where he could re-sign in the offseason. I don't think it's likely, but yes, that scenario is real. The fact that he's mentioned as a trade candidate, he should be, if this team is actually out of it. And that's where it comes down to with Lugo. You cannot, if you're out of this near the deadline and you're 6+ back or something, you cannot just roll him the rest of the season without getting something back. You can't roll him out there and not get anything, because if he leaves in the offseason, you have nothing to show for it for this particular year. He can help you in the future if he doesn't come back, if you're able to move him in season. And so They shouldn't do that today on June 25th. No, that would be silly. They're only 3.5 games out of a playoff spot. Despite how bad they've been at home, they're still only that. But if in a couple weeks, they're 7 or 8 games out, well, then they absolutely should be considering trading them. They don't have to make that decision today, but I don't know why you would suggest to hold on to them if you know you're not going to be in the playoff picture, and you fall way back and this week goes bad and all of a sudden you're sitting 6 games out of a playoff spot, 7 games out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, especially you don't make the playoffs. You look back at the season, think you could have gotten something from Seth Lugo at that point. You still want to throw the towel in now. That's the curse and the blessing of the third wild card in Major League Baseball. The teams think they legitimately have a shot, but you have to be real about the situation. Look at the coaching staff and the front office staff. Say, we're actually going to make it or not? What are we going to do? But other teams would be looking at the Chiefs or the Royals pitching staff because they're like, okay, this team can't hit. And obviously, they're one of the tops in all the categories in pitching. So, the pitching staff would be the first thing rated from this team.
Then in the same piece, it mentions 4 different players, along with other teams, right? It's not saying the Royals are the favorite for these, but just they listed teams connected to certain players. And same kind of conversation, depending on where this team is at. I don't want them just trading for Reynolds unless they're going to jump ahead of the line and go do that like today, or if this team were to get hot, which right now with the way the offense is at home, nobody really believes that is going to happen. So if you're going to make a trade for a bat, it needs to be for somebody that has control. So the 4 names that were mentioned, 2 of them have control beyond this year, and 2 of them are rentals. The 2 rentals are Eugenio Suarez there with the Diamondbacks, and they're an interesting team now because Corbin Carroll, one of the best players in baseball, is, I believe, now officially on the IL with a fractured wrist. Oh. And then Marcell Ozuna down with the Braves. They got off to a slow start. They're starting to play better, and obviously Acuna's been back, and so the Braves are in a different spot. But those are both rentals. I'm only good with that if the team is actually in position, as in 2 or 3 games within a playoff spot. Bink, I don't want them 7 out and trading for a rental player and giving up somebody that can potentially help them in the future. So that's where I'm kind of at. And Taylor Ward and Jarren Duran for the Red Sox, one of them has got control through 2028. The other's got control through 2026. Those 2 players, whether you're buy or sell, I'm willing to make that trade, whether you're 5 out, 2 out, or 8 out, because those are guys that can help you beyond just 2025. That's kind of where I'm at on the trade front.
But control and rental at the same time would be the best way instead of just 2 for control, because that's going to cost you way too much money as far as that's concerned. So control and rental, but it's going to be curious who makes the first jump, which team does, because obviously these names, not just going to be linked to the Royals, it's going to be linked to a lot of different teams. Who's going to make the first leap to go out and grab these players? Because right now I think they're all watching each other to see who's going to make that step, because you got to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. If you feel you still have a chance, you got to be that team that's aggressive. Be one of those 2 or 3 teams that make the moves to get to the postseason, because they all are going to do it. These teams are going to stand pat. So you don't want to be the team on the outside, because then if all these other teams are, and Duran's gone and Suarez and Ozuna are gone, then all of a sudden Seth Lugo, it becomes much more clear your direction if other teams jump in and grab these guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is all dictated by how the team plays the rest of this week and the rest of the next week or 2. It solves a lot of these questions. But all these options that are out there, you can make a case for any of these 5 players mentioned, whether it's trading away one of your own or going and acquire one of these 4. You really can go down a different road depending on, does this road trip end up as a 1-5 or 0-6 homestand? Sorry, does it end up as a 1-5 or 0-6 homestand, or is it a 3-3 homestand, or now 4-2 seems pretty crazy, right? They already lost the first one against the Rays, but and the offense hasn't got going, and we know they've lost.
4-2,
you've won.
Love that.
Haven't won a single game at Kauffman in June, so it's hard to imagine them now rattling off a couple other than baseball's baseball, right? And crazier things have happened.
Yeah, because last night you're watching the game saying, all right, which team's going to be the first to no-hit the Royals? The way they were playing. I was like,
wow, the perfect game through 6, or 2 through 5, last night.
And Ohtani's supposed to go 1 inning versus the Royals. Maybe it's what he's been doing. But I told you, I could see Ohtani going 5 against the Royals because they're not challenging the pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean, a lot of people thought they were going to get swept by the Rangers, and then they ended up sweeping the Rangers. And so, while, yes, the Dodgers are a daunting team.
It's a frustrating team.
It would not be the craziest thing in baseball history if the Royals somehow played better against the Dodgers for no rhyme or reason. I have no, actual numbers to back that up in terms of, why they should do it. But we've all watched baseball, listened to baseball on the radio long enough to know, in a 162-game schedule, where, by the way, there's still, 81 games to go or something. After tonight, I think 79. Maybe tonight's the 80th game. I don't know, whatever it is. That The best team in baseball losing to a middle-of-the-road team happens all the time. But last night just brought up a lot of, I think, anger and frustration again, because for you to be a team with the expectation that they have and to be this pitiful at home, you got fans that maybe go to 1 or 2 games a year, and nobody's guaranteed a victory at home. Everybody knows you go to ballpark, there's no guarantee your team's going to win. But when for essentially now almost a month, you could have gone to a game and the team hasn't won one in your park. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they're also boring offensively because they can't score a darn run. They literally have scored the fewest runs in all of baseball now after last night. And it's a franchise worst offensive season. You wonder why attendance on weeknights, especially as we get into these days where it's miserably hot outside, you wonder why it dips? Go to the game right now, man, you're seeing 1 run or no runs, and you're seeing your team not even be competitive offensively in these games.
Well, you look at the teams and you look at the clarity of the AL Central. Things have come back to pack for this division. You got Cleveland, right? Cleveland's sitting here. They're 4-6 in the last 10, just like the Royals. You know what the Royals' differential is? Minus 25, right? It's minus 25. Differential for Cleveland is minus 27. And then there's Minnesota right behind them at minus 20. Minnesota's lost 5 games in a row, by the way. So your divisions, when the Royals are going on these losing streaks or whatever, so is the division. That's the thing. The Royals just keep hovering there at second or third.
Yeah, I'm not even worried.
Easily being second.
Yeah, not even worried about the division. It's the final wild card spot. I mean, that's the only realistic conversation to be had. And they're 3.5 out of the final wild card spot. And I understand there's a couple divisional teams that you're battling with. The Twins and Guardians are also looking at the wild card race. But
now Minnesota's 4.5 back. So
yeah, like when we talk about even Taylor Ward, the outfielder for the Angels. The Angels aren't the Angels ahead of the Royals in the actual wild card thing. So it's like why should they be sellers? That's the tricky part about this entire thing is as much as that we get text every day, sell. And that might be the eventual outcome. That very well could be, and it gets clarified in a few weeks. But why should the Royals or the Angels, in this case, why should they be the first team to say, no, we're good with selling? And every team's financials are different and years of control and all that. But the Angels are in a better spot right this second than the Royals are.
Unless you're the White Sox or Athletics in the American League.
Right.
You don't think you have
everybody's
Baltimore, I mean, I don't know. They're 7.5 back from a wild card, but they've been playing better as of late. But 7.5 back is 7.5 back. So
you already fired your manager.
Yeah, 7.5 back. Chances are it's sell-off time. So essentially 3 teams in the American League, 4 in the National League. It could be that know they're not going to the postseason. But the rest, I think they can go.
We'll talk more about the home struggles with Josh Vernier here in about 12 minutes or so. We'll get his perspective on last night, why they have struggled so much at home. We'll also, of course, talk about how they should proceed with handling some of these names maybe that are being thrown out there as possible trade candidates and how they should approach it. We mentioned in What's Trending this really awful story out of a White Sox game with the Diamondbacks yesterday. And since the fan has been banned, but Ketel Marte, who's an all-star player, supposedly, we obviously don't cover the Diamondbacks, but by all accounts, seems like high-energy guy, real positive guy to be around and all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden, he starts bawling on the field, middle of the game. I think it was the 7th inning last night. You're like, what is going on? Listen to the broadcast, because the broadcast is also just trying to figure out what at this point in time, what exactly had occurred.
Welcome back to Chicago. This is from the previous pitching change. Torey Lovullo with Ketel Marte in tears on the pitcher's mound, waiting for the reliever to come in, consoling Ketel Marte, who was in tears. Ketel Marte in tears, kneeling down behind second base, being consoled by his teammates. Now, we can only speculate as to what bad news that Ketel has received, but he was very emotional out there as Beeks comes in to face Austin Slater, the pinch hitter, and Slater, batting for Rojas, flies out. No idea why Ketel was in tears there during a pitching change. He might be upset about his teammate Ildemaro Vargas suffering a broken foot earlier in the game, but that was unusual.
And it wasn't that. They didn't know at the time. We later find out that some fan in Chicago at this White Sox Diamondbacks game yelled something about his mother, who had passed away in a car crash back in the Dominican Republic, I think in 2017 is what 2017. And so that obviously brought up a ton of emotion from him. Who knows how long this guy was heckling him and saying these terrible things. My guess is it wasn't just a one-off comment. Who knows how long he was doing it, if he brought up whatever it is, right? People go to sporting events, they think they can say whatever the hell they want and there's no consequences. And that this happens, stuff like this happens far too often at sporting events. We've all been around somebody, right? You can have fun and joke around with an opponent or whatever, and all, people do that all the time. But there's a line that you cannot cross. This fan got ejected from the game. Torey Lovello, the manager of the Diamondbacks, ended up going out there as well and consoling him along with their bench coach. And then after the game, he was asked about the whole scenario with Marte.
Yeah, it was a terrible moment. Fans are nasty and fans go too far sometimes. And I love my players and I'm going to protect them. I've known Cattell for 9 years and he's had some unbelievably great moments and some hardships as well and some really, really tough moments in his life. And I know those. And at the end of the day, we're human beings and we have emotions, and I saw him hurting and I want to protect him.
Can you tell us what you told him?
I love you and I'm with you and we're all together and you're not alone. And no matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy's an idiot and shouldn't have an impact on you.
It's awful, right? Like that's one of those worst moments that you can probably experience if you're Marte, and to be on the road at a stadium, you're playing a baseball game, and some a-hole decides to make comments like that. And the good news at this point is that Major League Baseball has banned him. I don't know, did they ban him just from all parks? They should.
I think the White Sox. Was it the White Sox or Major League Baseball that? I think
Major League Baseball.
Okay, so I think it's White Sox games. At least that's what I saw.
They should not allow them in any ballpark. You don't get to just say whatever the hell you want at sporting events. We all know the line that you can. I thought that you don't cross as a fan, man. And also, and I'm not. Like, I don't want to say like this is one White Sox fan, right? Like we've all been at games. There's always one complete moron. It doesn't mean that's the entire fan base and everything. But if you want to show that that's not what you're about, if you're White Sox fans, I don't know if they play them tonight. I assume they do, right? It's a series that just opened up. You should almost give this dude like a standing ovation or something when he goes in the batter's box, even as an opponent, to show, hey, we're behind. Yeah. We don't that guy's not Chicago. I don't know if that'll happen tonight, but if you want to prove that guy doesn't represent you, because otherwise this is obviously a terrible look for you as a Chicago sports fan.
And by the way, it was just the White Sox. It wasn't Major League Baseball.
Okay, just the White Sox.
Just that stadium, yeah. At this point,
Major League Baseball should not allow him to go to any. He should not be allowed in any Major League Baseball game.
Now again, there's the difference between making fun of someone how they're playing. I mean, all that's fair
game.
Between the lines is fair game.
That stuff happens.
But personal stuff, that's outside the lines. It just is. It shouldn't be done. Saying anything about them or joking about it, their performance, maybe they're hitting .59. You're yelling about their batting. It's fair. It's fair. That's legitimate. But someone's mom, I mean, come on.
Yeah, we've all got to sporting events enough. We know the fun ribbing or whatever, and baseball players are not gonna. That's not a problem if you're going to go out there and joke about their hair or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like dumb stuff, right? Like, we've all been like, your hat's on, like whatever, right? Dumb stuff, right? As fans shout at players.
Yeah.
But whether we're talking about saying something that's racist or homophobic, or in this case, you're talking about someone's mother who died in a car crash. What the hell are you bringing that up for? Like, what? I mean, I don't care if you were drunk or not. That's not an excuse. That's terrible. It's one of those where eventually the identity of this person comes out, and stuff like this is where one of those that this person should have consequences in terms of in their professional life as well. I'm serious. Normally I'm not like make sure this this person people should know, his employer should know who the hell he is. If you go to a ballpark and you bring up stuff like that, like you want that person representing you want to work next to that dude that is saying stuff like that about somebody. Absolutely not.
Well, the White Sox did something about it, so that's good on the White Sox.
Yeah. All right, up next, let's get back on the diamond in terms of the playing side of things with Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Of course, his On Deck show is tonight at 5:30 as the Royals looking for their first home win in 9 tries. We'll talk more about that and how they should approach the next couple of weeks right here on Cody and Gold.
Watch Cody and Gold on YouTube by subscribing to the 96.5 YouTube channel. Cody and Gold is brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey.
Human trafficking is occurring right here in Missouri. You can help combat it by learning the signs of human trafficking and reporting suspicious activity to law enforcement. Victims may appear malnourished, show signs of mental or physical abuse, or avoid social interaction. If you're a victim or know someone who needs help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text the word HELP to Be Free. Together, we can fight human trafficking in Missouri.
Brought to you by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 60 months on brand new Rogues and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months. Even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Looking for power? Get up to $6,000 in total rebates on new Frontiers. And don't miss 1.9% APR for 60 months on the bold and stylish Murano. These are some of the lowest rates we've seen all year, and inventory's moving fast. Visit Reiselman.com for full details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Here is your Game of the Week, presented by Hyundai. Two division leaders will face off as Chicago heads south to Houston. Both teams have won a World Series in the past decade, and they are on the hunt again this season with some of the most surprising records in the league. Each team added huge free agents this offseason, and those additions have clearly paid off throughout the season. Who will come out of the weekend with a series win in this matchup of heavyweights? No one likes to choose. That's why with America's best lineup of hybrids from Hyundai, you get the best of both worlds. Like the reliable and efficient Tucson Hybrid with America's best warranty, or the stylish yet capable Santa Fe Hybrid with the power to navigate the toughest terrain. It's like having your cake and eating it too, but better. Hybrids from Hyundai. It's the best of both worlds. America's best warranty claim based on total package of warranty program. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Brought to you by Gomer's. 5 locations in the KC Metro or online at gomers.com.
Summertime is fun time, and that means it's Gomer's time. Voted #1 KC liquor shop and family owned since 1969, Gomer's Fine Wines and Spirits. Stop by one of their 5 locations. You'll be glad you did.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Jay Binkley with you. Cody's back tomorrow. Drew Nixon producing the show. We'll get to the random question of the day in about 15 minutes or so, but the Royals will try to snap this 8-game home losing streak. Tonight out at Kauffman Stadium, Michael Walker gets the nod, 6:40 first pitch. Vern's On Deck show right here on 96.5 The Fan begins at 5:30. Let's bring in our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. Bink said he was listening to you a little bit last night, and understandably so. He said you were ticked off. You were fired up, as most Royals fans are right now.
I honestly, I thought I didn't do a good job, and maybe that's what Bink's saying.
No, I wouldn't say that. I thought you sounded frustrated like we did.
Yeah, I was dejected. I wasn't angry. I wasn't frustrated, because if I was to get on the air after that game last night and start screaming about the offense, I'm the crazy person. Right, we're 79 games into the season. What they did yesterday is what they've done a majority.
Sure.
20 of the first 79 games, they've been held to 1 run or been shut out. So, once every 3-4 days, this team is held to 1 run or less. So, it's the same conversation we've had for now the past 2.5 months. You point to the same names and say, yeah, we all believe in them. We have faith in them. But that faith is starting to dissipate, and we're now just holding on to hope. Hope that this offense, that Bobby, Salvi, and Vinny can find that Herculean magic from a season ago, that this pitching staff can stay healthy. The saving grace right now is the calendar. I had someone call into the postgame show and say, Vern, what do I tell my football friends that are just kind of getting into Royals baseball after that run last year? Right now you point to the fact that this team is in week 9 of the NFL season, coming up in the second quarter of that week 9 game. So what, they're a 4-4 team in the NFL that is getting crushed right now in the first half? There's still time to turn their season around, still ways to get backdoored into the postseason. But tough to preach optimism and tough to be angry after a very familiar loss.
There's no doubt. We've seen this story play out so many times throughout this 2025 baseball season. What did you make of Jonathan India's comments after the game, where he basically said maybe we're trying too much, maybe we're trying to hit the ball too far, we're over swinging, we're trying to hit home runs. He talked about the ballpark's not really made for home runs. He took blame for his own approach at the plate as well.
Yeah, nice to see. But words and meetings, and that's not what 2025 was supposed to be about. That's not what Jonathan India was supposed to bring, what we've seen so far this season. The on-base percentage was supposed to be better. You were hoping for more doubles and extra base hits, maybe not home runs, but more doubles than we're getting. But, to me, that's never been an issue with this team, them taking ownership. You walk into that clubhouse, and before the game, it's a group of confident, close teammates. But after a loss, you can tell it affects them. They care more than we do. Vinny hasn't run from it since day one. Jonathan India's had a very bumpy start to his Royals career, and he's there before every game, after every game, willing to answer questions. So, they are a lot of professionals inside that clubhouse. So those comments don't surprise me. And that's why, I have such a tough time of late continuously crushing the same thing because, man, I know they're just they're more frustrated than I am. They're more agitated than I am. They're more fed up than I am. So really it now just comes down to them getting the job done and hopefully them getting some reinforcements. I know they're 3 games below 500, but wow, what a moment that would be inside the clubhouse for them to be sitting there and in walks fill in the blank. Taylor Ward, Luis Robert, Eugenio Suarez, Marcell Ozuna. I mean, that type of pat on the back, that bolster of confidence coming from the front office, coming from ownership that, boys, like I mentioned, it's week 9 of the NFL season. You can still get in there. And as we saw last year and as we've seen over the past decades, get in there and anything can happen.
So I'm with you. Like my thing is on the Reynolds, though, Vern, like unless they make that move like today in the next week or so, I don't want them really trading for a Riddle player. Otherwise, you need to be trading for, you mentioned Taylor Ward or whatever. I think he's got to control through 2026. That move they can make whether they're quote unquote in it or not. That's a move that helps them beyond this year. But like Marcell Ozuna and Suarez, like, it either needs to happen now, or if they do wait 2-3 weeks, then they need to be within 3 or 4 games of a playoff spot. Otherwise, I don't want them making a Riddle trade.
And neither of those two guys are the dream. I'm not dreaming of a DH only that can barely move in Ozuna and a guy that's banged up right now, just took a fastball off the wrist in Eugenio Suarez. No. To your point, and, whatever move they were to make in the next week, 2 weeks, it's going to be, I would assume, an overpay. Unless you can find an organization that prizes something that you don't think all that much of within your own organization, you have to think that most of these teams that have anything of value, they can ask for the moon right now because we're still 5 weeks away from the trade deadline. But, I heard you guys talking about Seth Lugo earlier. Depending on the health of Cole Reagans, I know Jeff Passan says they're more apt, and Passan knows everything. They're more apt to move Lugo if Reagans isn't going to return.
I think it's the other way, but yeah.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. But again, Jeff Passan's as plugged in as there is in the sport. But to me, if I know I'm getting Cole Reagans back, man, that opens up a spot in this rotation. I can move Seth Lugo. I think you can still go for it and move Seth Lugo because. What you're going to get in return for a Seth Lugo is likely prospects, likely something that doesn't help you until next year or a couple years down the line because the type of team that would be interested in Seth Lugo is a team that's trying to make a push to the postseason. They're not trying to carve anybody out of their big league clubhouse unless there is a team. I don't know if there is a team that has so many bats that, they would be in a similar situation if Cole Reagans returns and the Royals suddenly have 6 starters. I don't know if that team exists. Cardinals always seem like they have 3 or 4 of the same white guy in the outfield that hits bombs. I don't know if that's still the case. But if you're going to move Seth Lugo, it's not going to be something to help you this year. So, I think you can have your foot in both the buy and the sell market as we sit. Tomorrow's going to be 5 weeks.
I think the frustrating thing to me, Vern, is you see these group of teams, they're kind of bunched in, the 9 teams that really legitimately have a shot to get in it. You see that, and then you see the Royals pitching staff, like how good it's been. And you wonder who's going to make that jump. Because I think this could be completely competitive. Like it's a game of chess. Which team is going to make the first move to grab the talent? Because the talent pool's, limited with teams still in it and out of it. There's not many teams out of it in the AL or NL. Do you see a lot of teams, the Royals, that have competition to jump up? Should they be one of the teams to go out first and make moves if they think they can do it? Or kind of wait and see if someone else makes a move? Because I see really a lot of competition for some of these guys.
Yeah, when I look at the wild card teams, it really begins not even so much with, in my opinion, the talent, as much as it begins with the organization and the front office and what were the expectations coming into the year. In Kansas City, the expectations were to get to the postseason, and in talking with J.J. Piccolo yesterday, ownership is very much behind that, trying to build a consistent winner here in Kansas City. It doesn't appear as if John Sherman's saying, hey, if you're going to bring in someone that has a hefty contract, you're going to have to offset it because I ain't paying it, right? You're going to have to part with some big prospects because that team is paying that dude's contract a la, Ben Zobrist or Johnny Cueto. we'll take on those players, but we're not going to take on all that money. And if we do, boy, we better get something to truly offset that. I think John Sherman's fully foot on the gas pedal. And coming into the season, it was playoffs or bust. I mean, that was my expectation. I mean, the goal was win the division, but I think the floor was, that's how everyone was talking. I mean, to a man inside that clubhouse, it wasn't if we make the playoffs, it's what we're going to do when we make the playoffs. The Texas Rangers are 2 years removed from a world title. The Angels were certainly not playoffs or bust. The Boston Red Sox already trading Rafi Devers, so they have a built-in excuse as to why they could ultimately fall short of the postseason. So those are the top 3 teams in front of you, Cleveland and Seattle. Seattle was basically what the Royals are this year. A great pitching staff, no offense, and they finished a game short of the postseason. True. So they have pressure. I would say Seattle and Kansas City are the 2 teams that most desperately need to grab that 3rd wildcard spot. Toronto has the 2nd. I'd put them in that mix as well with the money that they threw around this offseason. But everybody else in the mix, man, just staying in the race to me is good enough for that organization. Royals, Mariners, and Jays need to be there. So to me, they need to be the most aggressive teams.
They get the raise, obviously, for 2 more than the Dodgers are coming to town. We talked yesterday on the show, just expectations for this homestand. And now, in general, when you haven't won in the month of June, just what do you make of the rest of this week? All the conversation about the trade stuff, one way or the other is fine, but they're in, another 1-5 homestand or 0-6 homestand, and I think we're all thinking a lot differently on Monday.
Yeah, now we're chasing our tail, and we might need to push back. At least personally, I might need to push back from the table and say, am I thinking emotionally rather than logically and thinking about the future of this organization? Yeah, listen. You know all the reasons, Gold, Bink, you guys know all the reasons to believe in this team, to be patient with this team, the potential of this offense. I don't need to tell anybody listening. I don't need to tell you guys. They just need to go out there and get it done. And it's more, and you know this, it's more than just the Rays and the Dodgers. This entire stretch until the All-Star break. Every team outside of the Pirates is in playoff position. Yeah, 18 games to go. You're hoping to go 9-9 down the stretch. You're hoping to hit the All-Star break 3 games below 500, which is something that I don't think anybody thought they'd be fixing their lips to say.
What's the frustration level, though, Vern, that you have? Because I know as a fan, when I'm in, other Royals fans are watching it, because I was excited, day off, I hated it. I want to see the Royals get back in action. We'll see with this homestand with the Rays and the Dodgers. And they have the off day, so I expected more energy and whatnot when they got on the field, and then they played like that. I felt like a sucker to some extent that I'm always expecting, and at some point you are what you are. Like June 1st hits, and now we're almost to July. I expect something different to happen each and every night, but yet it doesn't. And last night there, I don't know why it happened just last night, but that really, really was frustrating to me. Sure. And you know how we do it on the betting segment, Vern. I go with these Sundays. I backed away from the hitters. I'm like, I don't care how they're hitting. At a certain point, I'm going all pitchers at this point. But last night was more frustrating to me than any other night.
Yeah, I knew you'd get it in there. I knew you'd mention how well you're doing on the gambling
Bink,
segment. You're so pathetic.
Vern, I've heard from Bink about
I'm number 1.
I've heard from about 8 different times since Bink's been filling in about this. I don't even know the standings, but he does.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm number 1, aren't I, Vern?
Yes, you are. You are number 1, Binkley. No, as far as last night, and here's the thing. Am I frustrated? Am I agitated? Yeah, I'm frustrated in the fact that the postseason does seem so far out of reach, and the only way this team's going to get to the postseason is by becoming the team that we've been waiting for them to become, and that just seems like a fool's errand. But then I look up and down this lineup, and okay, Jonathan India last night, 1 for 4. Yeah, I'm disappointed in his performance, but like we mentioned, the dude's owning it. I watch him before games. He's putting the work in. Okay, Bobby's in the 2 spot. Bobby's still one of the 20 best players in Major League Baseball. No, he's not making a case for the American League MVP, but Bobby's been good. Bobby's been very good. Maikel Garcia's been unbelievable. Vinny Pasquantino, very disappointing with runners in scoring position, just a shade better than 200. But he's hitting well over 300 in June, hitting better than 300 since the end of April. And he's another guy, one of the mouthpieces of the team that owns it, that says, I suck. When he sucks, he owns it. So how can I be more frustrated than a guy that's saying, I suck? Salvi's the captain. I'm not going to question the kind of effort that he's putting in. Jack Caglione's been thoroughly impressive in his first few weeks in the big leagues. Drew Waters, John Rave, Nick Lofton, Mark Canna, terrific bench players. They can maybe have one spot in the lineup. Shouldn't have two of those guys in the lineup every single day, especially if you think you're going to win the division. But then that goes back to MJ and Massey and Hunter Renfroe and those three disappointing bats. Kyle Isbell's been terrific, and that's every hitter. So, yeah, I'm frustrated in the offense. I'd love Freddie Fermin, but I don't know where to target that frustration. There isn't that whipping boy in this lineup. There isn't that whipping boy on this team. It's just a very disappointing first half of the season that we all just kind of have to sit with.
Hey, Vern, what do you know about this roster construction? Because I was telling Gold, Dayton Moore, when he was here, he has that book that he had out that Dayton Moore wrote, and he took a lot of stuff from Bobby Cox and how he built the Braves to be good in the particular ballpark, the home ballpark. Like, he got the type of group of players that were good there. And it doesn't matter because you're at home so many games. It just seems this year, are they still doing that, do you feel? You feel this group of players is good for that particular ballpark, this particular ballpark?
Well, I think the first three hitters and the last three hitters are.
Okay.
India, again, just way too many fly balls from the beginning, from opening day. I want the line drives, hit those gaps. Bobby and Mike Kell are built for this place. Vinny and Salvi and Cags, no, those are your boppers in the middle, although Caglione's athleticism has been impressive. Waters, Rave, Isbell, with all due respect, defensive first, punch and Judy's for the most part. So who are we talking about? Yeah, Bobby is, Mike Hell is, Jonathan India is. Your boppers are not, and the guys that are at the bottom of your lineup, I guess, are because they're, quality, speedy outfielders that can cover a lot of ground. So, yeah, I do think the team is built for the ballpark. Unfortunately, they're just not having any success at the ballpark. Now lost 11 straight games as home favorites, which is
crazy.
Embarrassing.
Last one for you. Someone texted in, should I have Drew go back and try to find, I guess a caller was talking about Caglione's legs last night, and you hung up on him. Is that true?
Well, I don't hang up on anybody. Let's get that.
Okay. Text line.
Yeah. I would. I certainly would. I just don't have control of the phone.
True. That is true.
No, he was just pointing out just how good-looking Jack Caglione's legs were. I thanked him for the phone call and asked the next caller if he agreed, and he did not.
All right, Vern. Appreciate it, man. There you go. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, his On Deck show tonight, 5:30, as the Royals try to snap this home losing streak.
Did you pay attention at all to it, like some of the things Rex was saying last night? Because they said some really interesting things to me, I think.
About which stuff? I mean, I thought Ryan's comments late in the game were interesting as well about the off day.
When Vinny was getting a hug from one of the Rays and stuff, Rex just basically said, "See, I don't like that." I mean,
that's an old school thing. That's an old school thing.
It's old school, but I agree with him, though. Yeah, when you see that kind of thing happen, I was like, I like
think
hearing that from Rex
that's,
because they shouldn't be doing that stuff right now. You got to win. It's not about being friends. You do that after the game or before the game, whatever. You don't do it during the game. And I agreed with Rex.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of people that agree with him on that. I think that's definitely just a different era of baseball. Yeah. And if you're a baseball fan, going way back and stuff, you're like, what the fact these guys know each other so much now, they train with each other in the off season and that kind of stuff. It's just a different relationship that they have with the opponent. And yeah, I think sometimes, look, it's one of those things where when the team's winning, nobody gives a damn that they're hugging and whatever, and being friendly. But when they're losing, people all of a sudden have an issue with it. I don't have a problem with that. So that's where baseball is at in 2025.
When you go back,
let's say Vinny works out with a player in the offseason. They're good friends. The day and age of that they're gonna talk to that player.
Well, Lorenzo Cain had an attitude back at 15, or 14, because he was at first base. And the Tigers wanted to, tell jokes with him. He's like, "Hey, I'm here to beat you."
I hear you, and you're not alone. I know. Like that. I know I'm in the minority, but it's definitely a different generation. It's a generational thing, is what it is. I think more than anything else. All right, let's get to it.
Random question.
Oh boy.
Jay Binkley, do you have a random question for us and for the text line 913-586-7965?
I wrote a couple down in case.
Oh,
okay, good.
Just in case.
Right,
good.
We'll see if we're going to veto Binks. Let's see what we got.
It might have been so bad.
Okay.
That I backed off from doing it the other day.
Yeah, you pouted in the corner, as you said. You told us you were pouting.
had a real winner of a question, too. What desk would you buy?
That's not the question, but go ahead. That was not the question.
So let me throw one out here. It was going to be, we talked about what would you do a tattoo for? What would be the price on that?
The Travis Kelsey naked tattoo.
Ryan Wachowski, when he was here, we once talked about what would you be tased in the junk for? How much money? And I think these things are rich. It was like $500.
That's your question?
Like $500. No, it's not. If you could have one food item, one place, and you can get whatever you want. No, one food item or one particular drink. Like, say you like Coors Light, just be a Coors Light. But that's it. Not any other kind of beer, just that.
This was the option the other day that we didn't choose, correct?
Yep. But it was free.
Yep.
But it's free for the rest of your life.
What
Which one would you go?
What was your option we have for the question?
If you could swap lives with a fictional character for one day, who would it be?
Oh, I don't like that. We've done that before.
Beavis.
We've done that one before. Let's do Binks, I guess. To answer your question, one food item that's the only item I can eat the rest of my life.
Liquor. Would you take the liquor or the food?
That's
item?
all I can eat the rest of my life.
One or the other. Would you choose?
But that's all I can eat?
No. To get free.
Oh, for free? Oh, well then give me a filet mignon steak and we're good to go, my man. I'm good. That's my item. Give me a nice steak.
Okay.
Yeah. One food item?
One item. Just a good steak.
Or liquor.
If you tell me I'm getting fillets for free the rest of my life, I'm happy. I'm thrilled.
I'd probably buy the filet, but I consume more beer, so it'd be beer.
Okay.
Yeah, beer's. I would say, steak is a really good answer.
It is.
Leaning that way
buy
as
the
well.
steak or whatever. I'm still going to have that, but the beer was something that's.
Steak's more expensive. I'll take it for free. The steak's more expensive.
But I have beer a lot more often than I do steak.
I'm going to go with chicken. Plain and simple.
Just like
chicken.
What chicken strips?
You just ate chicken? You just want ate chicken? Like,
no.
I want grilled chicken, thighs, drumsticks?
Give me the chicken tenderloins from the grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah, I can have tacos. I can have salad. I can make. I can just have regular grilled chicken itself.
It's fine, but
I can make steak tacos with the filet too.
Correct. Well, I don't want to use steak. I don't want to say the same. I don't want to say the same thing.
No, grilled chicken or whatever. Okay.
Just give me chicken.
Someone says filet mignon isn't steak.
Huh?
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Okay.
It was a good answer, but
what are we
I'm
doing?
still going with the liquor item.
Someone from the 913 Bink, how much beer do you drink in a day? Just trying to compare us.
Oh, jeez.
Like on the air?
No, just when you go home tonight, how much beer are you drinking when you're watching the Royals game?
Oh, with the Royals? A case. No, I was just kidding. No, the Royals make me drink more. I don't know, 2 or 3, 4, 5.
2, 3, 4, 5. It just went up there pretty quick all of a sudden.
It depends on the Royals. 2 or 3, probably.
Okay.
Text line 913-586-7965. A few people saying crab legs would be their answer.
That's
Jameis is texting.
Yeah, perhaps. Someone does not like Drew's answer. Said chicken. What an awful answer, Drew.
I can make multiple things with it though.
You can have your damn Mike's Hard Lemonade every day, Drew.
I don't drink. I don't drink Mike's Hard enough to.
You do when you're angry.
No, I don't. I don't drink Mike's Hard enough to get it, to want it for free.
You said you were so frustrated with the Pacers you wouldn't grab the one. He's a freaking idiot.
Well, you said it, not me. You said it, not me.
The other one that I was going to ask you, the other question was, what would the title of your biography be?
I have no idea, man.
Don't get married.
Yo, that'd be yours, Bink.
You asked me.
Well, how much you talk about it.
Don't lose your ring.
And knock us.
Don't lose your ring.
I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. Did you see during the?
Yes, he ignored that. He moved on quickly.
Totally whiffed
did
on
you
that.
Guys, I don't know if you guys. I didn't watch any of the parade, but I saw some parts of the Thunder speeches, and there was a moment where Chet Holmgren had a little bit of a stumble and a stutter, and coming from somebody who stutters, I tweeted out, I think I gotta use this line. I mean, I really do.
All right, let me lock in.
I'm gonna have to say, and the next time I stutter on the air, boys, if I recognize it, I'm gonna have to stop and say, all right, let me lock in, so I don't stutter anymore. I think that was hilarious.
It is good. It is good.
I did see that clip.
My biography would be Stuttering Through Life. Be perfect.
Look at you. That's deep. We just went deep, got deep all of a sudden.
Drew got all serious.
Yeah, we got all of a sudden.
No comment, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can really say to that, Drew.
Yeah, Drew,
you know?
Wow.
I mean, when you make comments like that, we have to change the mood very quickly and turn it away. Because if you're going to say that, like I got to break that up.
I've played with stiff chefs. It's not that great.
Yeah, we're back on track now. We're back on track now. You went too serious for a second.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Turn.
That's a chapter of one of the. That's a chapter.
Oh yeah. Huh.
You will not decorate my balls. Period. I will decorate my balls.
Yeah, it's true. That's
I
perfect.
prefer that.
I will draw the line
I
on the
prefer
golf
that
ball.
answer versus
That's
the
a good
others.
I always circle the number on my golf ball.
You circle the number on what?
All right. That's it.
You guys
Up
are
next,
childish.
We will get to the
childish behavior.
1 o'clock
Jeez.
hour. A
telling you what to
terrible
do.
list of quarterbacks by the division in the NFL. And we'll get back into some of what Vern had to say with us right there with this team that just simply can't hit at home.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is always finding ways to save me some dough, like new lower prices in every department. And on top of that, I save so much money at the pump with Hy-Vee's awesome Fuel Savers deals. I love watching the number roll back at the pump, and Monday, June 30th is for me. I'll earn a 40-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase, and you will too. So stock up for 4th of July weekend and stack up all of those fuel savings. It's awesome to save money at the pump, only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing says summer like a backyard barbecue. Invite your family, the neighbors. You can even include the entire Little League team. Hy-Vee makes it easy and affordable. This Friday through Sunday, save big on all your favorite flavors of summer, like John Morrell Frank's just 97 cents, juicy ripe cantaloupe $1.99, Pepsi 6-pack bottles $2.99, and Lay's potato chips just $1.99. Hurry to the backyard barbecue sale and fire up the grill this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly. Or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory is moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
In a world parched for excitement, Twisted Tea's your refreshing thrill ride of flavor. The hard iced tea that's smooth, made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol. Twisted Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
When it comes to DSPs, usability matters. Some platforms bury you in complexity. Results-driven advertising shouldn't look like a chemistry experiment. Viant's AI-powered DSP streamlines setup, automates measurement and optimization, and keeps you in control. Less clicking, more strategy. And with proven CTV leadership across premium publishers, Viant works smarter and delivers stronger. Why are you still trading on a desk? Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Subscribe to the 249 Miles of College Football podcast with new episodes released on Wednesdays. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon producing the show. Jay Binkley in for Cody. One final hour. Cody's back tomorrow. And then we have a day game tomorrow, too. So we only have a 2-hour show tomorrow. Cody's easing his way back in. Been fun, Bink. I appreciate you filling in, man.
It's been fun.
And then we're going on Friday, too.
Well, Friday's a football planning day. We got some stuff to work on ahead of the football season. Every show's doing it on different days. Last Friday was the morning show. This Friday, it's us. So, yes, we kind of a weird schedule the next couple of days.
Because in 1 month, it is football go time.
That's right. We will be at training camp. We got some things to plan, some things to get set for the football campaign. Hopefully add to what we've done in the football season the last couple of years, but hopefully make it better than ever, that kind of stuff. So text line, one last one. Someone said, Jay, your biography would be Dipping Buns, the life of a Joey Chestnut superfan.
Nice. I like that. I don't like actually dipping hot dog buns, though. I draw the line. I like watching it. I'm fine watching it, but doing it, no.
But you dip, and you like hot dog buns.
Dipping buns in water's something that's interesting.
That's what you got to do to win the competition, so you've told me.
I know that. Just don't. No.
And if you're about winning, Bink, like we talked about all show, then you're
we'll get back
dipping
to
those buns.
We'll get back to Mahomes and Rodgers and stuff in a little bit. But thinking of quarterbacks, NFL.com was going through each division and ranked out what division has the best quarterbacks in the NFL. A couple of these divisions, totally agree with. There's a few that are way out of whack. So number one, they listed the AFC West as the best quarterback division in the NFL. And I think there's probably some debate there for some people in Cincinnati and Baltimore and in Pittsburgh. They would say, wait a second. But number one they listed was, obviously, it was Mahomes, Geno Smith, Justin Herbert, Bo Nix as that division.
As far as the list is concerned, obviously we'd say Mahomes. Number two, do you think Bo Nix can creep up past Geno, or do you put Geno still ahead of him?
Well, Mahomes 1, Herbert's 2.
Herbert's 2, obviously.
And then the question is whether or not Geno or Bo Nix is higher. And I would put Bo Nix above Geno.
Okay, but when your last place guy is still pretty damn good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Here was the number 2 division, NFC West. Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, obviously, 2 years ago, if he was the bottom tier quarterback, it'd be a much different story. If Sam Darnold's your worst quarterback in your division, based off of last year at least, you're saying, oh, that's not too bad. So I have no problem actually with the first two divisions being there. The third one is interesting. NFC East, they listed as the third best quarterback division. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson. You think that one's right?
Ooh, I think they could give number 2 a run for the money. NFC West. I think you make a good argument that NFC East would be higher than them.
Yeah, I think
because you have the Super Bowl
Jaden
champion.
Daniels was an NFC title game his rookie year, had the best rookie season we've ever seen. Jalen Hurts has been in 2 Super Bowls, got a ring. Dak Prescott, I know people love to hate on him. I still think he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And Russell Wilson, look, if that's your worst quarterback, you could do worse in your division.
The 2 Super Bowls has a ring. So.
Yeah, well, but we're talking not what he did 8 years ago. We're talking about what he is now. Russell Wilson in 2014 would be viewed as a top 5 quarterback or top 10 quarterback in the NFL, probably. Not now, of course. And then this is the one that doesn't make any sense. Fourth is the AFC East. Allen, Tua, Fields, May. Fifth is the AFC North. Lamar, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. Their issue is they have Kenny Pickett / Flacco listed. So they're dragging that because they just by an average. They listed Lamar as the number 1 quarterback, whatever. Number 3 was Burrow. Number 22 was Rodgers, and number 47 was Pickett. 40 is Flacco. So there's your answer, Bink. That's why the AFC North is 5th, because their worst quarterback is in the 40s. The worst quarterback in the AFC East is 27, according to them, and that's Justin Fields.
But I do look at 3 of those guys that could make a nice run. To all three of the 4, I could see making a run in the postseason. Mm-hmm. One of them maybe even winning it all. So it's between Lamar, a 2-time MVP. Joe Burrow had a great year last year. Aaron Rodgers, 4-time MVP. We'll see what he did with Pittsburgh. I do think him with Tomlin will be a good combination. And DK Metcalf, a wide receiver there. But I see 3 of those quarterbacks out of the 4 that can win games in the postseason. And one of them possibly winning it all.
And who's that?
I could see Jackson or Burrow have that capability to do it.
6th division they ranked was the North in the NFC. Goff, Love, Williams, McCarthy.
That absolutely can change.
And this is the one that has the most upside. I would argue of any of the divisions. Caleb Williams, obviously, right now you'd rank him, bottom 4 quarterback in the league based off of last year. But we all would acknowledge, I think, unless you're just a Caleb Williams hater, and there's a lot of you out there, that at least this season he's got everything right there for him, and there's no excuse. But also, Ben Johnson is much better than what they had before.
And those receivers, man.
Receiver room, Dunze, Burden, DJ Moore. Running back room is not terrible. O-line's completely revamped. So, yeah, I think there's definitely upside there at that division. Williams, Love, and McCarthy. Love still maybe has room to grow. McCarthy is a complete wild card, but with Kevin O'Connell, would it shock you if I told you he ends up having a nice season? And then Jared Goff, maybe he dips a little bit without Ben Johnson, but I think Goff at this point has stabilized his career.
Well, actually, the coach-quarterback combinations with 3 of the 4 are pretty damn good. And you say who's the best team in the division is actually the Lions, but instead of Dan Campbell, I like what Dan Campbell's doing, but I would take Johnson with Williams. I would take LaFleur and Jordan Love, and I would take O'Connell and McCarthy. I mean, it's actually a very nice quarterback-coach combination with 3 of the 4.
In terms of offensive minds, yeah, Matt LaFleur, you're right. I mean, in terms of play callers, Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur, and Kevin O'Connell, that's pretty darn good from a play caller's perspective.
Absolutely.
Good place to be a quarterback.
And the fun thing is Jared Goff might be, the division winner in here, but yet no Ben Johnson, obviously Dan Campbell. Nothing against Dan Campbell, but I like these other head coaches with the quarterback better.
The last 2 divisions, no surprise. NFC South, you're talking about Baker Mayfield being the best quarterback in that division, probably, right? We would agree.
100%.
And then Michael
right now,
Michael Penix, Bryce Young, and then Tyler Shuck, or it's Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, Tyler Shuck's not exactly a lock, and he can't stay healthy.
I actually hope it's Spencer Rattler. I need to be able to flip a couple of his cards here.
South Carolina guy.
I had a couple cards from a pack. I did not buy them.
You need him to play well.
Don't
too,
worry. I did not buy Spencer Rattler cards to invest.
You're a South Carolina guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I did not buy Spencer Rattler cards thinking he was going to be good, but I happen to have a couple from boxes, and I would like to be able to flip those. And I need him to start week 1 or 2 and look semi-decent so I can quickly get out of those.
I'm really excited to actually. I know we talked about Ben Johnson and LaFleur. Ben Johnson throwing some shade at Matt LaFleur a little bit I
saw that
in the offseason pressers. I kind of like the potential for the Bears-Packers rivalry to get even more feisty.
Yeah, the issue with the rankings on this is is because of how much the worst quarterback is weighed. Because we all, I think, if we're being honest, if you look at a division that has Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in it, and Rodgers, that's a better division than Mahomes, Herbert, and Knicks, or Mahomes, Herbert, and Geno Smith in terms of quarterback play. But the issue is that the AFC West is better in overall quarterback play because their worst quarterback is nothing compared to the worst quarterback in these other. That's the thing. So
it's also the quality of coaches with them.
Sure, but that's not what this ranking is. Though. We're adding it. That's a new criteria. But I'm with you, QB coach combos. But that for those asking why is the North not first? Well, based on how they did this, it can't be because their worst quarterback is either Kenny Pickett or Flacco, which is far worse than Geno or Bo Nix or Justin Fields, even or Russell Wilson in the East or Sam Darnold in the West. That's the answer in how they did this rankings. But if we're just doing it off of, you get to pick 2 quarterbacks from every division, that's all that matters. Well, then if we're only picking 2, then the AFC North is top with Burrow and Lamar. The West, I would say, is second just because Mahomes outweighs a lot of it with Herbert. And then the East would be third because I would have Jalen Hurts. NFCs.
Oh, NFC. Daniels.
Daniels and Hurts. And then the AFC East would be after only because Allen weighs heavily, and it would be Josh Allen with probably Tua or Drake May. As much as Tua can't stay healthy when he's out there, he's not a bad second quarterback in your division.
I agree with it, man. I mean, I understand what they're doing here, though. You throw out the bottom because everybody's kind of got that bottom feeder. I'm just looking top to bottom. I'm thinking, man, the AFC West, I get it. You thinking about championships with the quarterbacks and stuff, it's Mahomes and stuff. Look at the quality of coaches with them. I know it's not part of the category, but I think that's what really makes this division special when you think about how good the quarterback coach got, because they're all winners. All the guys that are head coaches know how to win games, both at the collegiate level, some of them, and the pro level.
Real quick, we were earlier talking about the Ketel Marte story there in Chicago last night. Marte plays for the Diamondbacks, and they were playing the White Sox, and awful moment where he broke down, started crying, and his man tried to console him because some jerk fan decided to yell something at him about his late mother that passed away in a car crash. Awful, awful stuff. We played just with that audio, and the White Sox have banned the fan from tonight's game or from the stadium. Also, I saw a couple reports just came out that the White Sox plan to have a message, I don't know what it is, but for Marte placed on the outfield video boards before his first at-bat in today's game. I think that's a nice gesture. As I told you, I think White Sox fans should honestly give him a standing ovation when he gets show that that's not who you are as sports fans in Chicago. But I don't know. Chicago White Sox, man, they've had some issues in the history of their franchise with,
the being attacked.
First base coach for the Royals obviously got brutally attacked by a fan. I'm not saying that there's not a jerk in every single fan base. Of course there is. But, man, it seems like they've crossed the line more than some at times. As bad as the Yankees fans in the playoffs reaching over and stealing the ball from Mookie Betts or trying to, that's obviously unacceptable. This is a whole different level when you're talking about somebody's mom in that way that passed away in a car crash. It's just what are you thinking? So anyway, that's just an update on the story we talked about. I just saw that come across the timeline that the White Sox are planning to do something.
Well, good to see them doing it. But you think our fan base, man, I understand. Team's been rough. It's been rough. But that doesn't give you any excuse to do that. It's been tough, but they have no excuse to get those tickets, go to the game, and be the jerk-off fans, because chances are we're not talking a season ticket holder here. I mean, I haven't seen it.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm just guessing no.
Probably some random fan. Yeah, it doesn't matter, though, man. You're in that ballpark.
No, you don't do it.
And no matter what city you're in, you cross that line. You should absolutely be banned. I'm glad to see that happened. It's an awful moment last night for Major League Baseball and obviously for Marte to have to experience that. All right, let's get back to the Royals a little bit. We asked Vern about this team at home. 8 straight losses, 15 of 18, haven't won a month of June.
Six straight series.
Negative 26 run differential at the K. This team has struggled to hit, period. At home, they truly just can't hit. They're right back to what this team has been offensively 90% of the season. There was promise last week. Obviously, you liked the Rangers series and what they did on Friday against the Padres, but those were outliers, clearly. What they did last night is what we've seen 90% of the season, and that's the real frustrating part of it, especially when it's against, Taj Bradley, who's, let's be real, is just kind of a dude. He's just a dude in the big leagues. It's not, they weren't going up against Paul Skeens, okay? I'd understand, if you're going up against Paul Skeens and he's got a perfect game through 5, I'd say, well, Paul Skeens, okay? This was Taj Bradley. This is just a dude
When Skeens faces him, that's when you hit that.
I don't know if he'll be
possible
scheduled
no-hitter
to.
odds.
I don't know if he's scheduled to pitch. It was
Maybe
too
we
far
don't have
out,
that
right?
date.
It's too far out. Ohtani, though, on Saturday maybe at Kauffman.
Kershaw's not here.
And Kershaw's pitching Thursday before they come to Kansas City.
He'll be here, but
no, I know what you meant. Yeah, look, this is who this team has been offensively. I think what is really frustrating about it is not just the ongoing offensive issues, but when you're at home, man, like and I know the players know this. It's not like they're not putting in the effort for it. We all understand that, but results are results. And if you're a fan, though, and you go to 1 or 2 games a year, Bink, which is most fans don't go to 10, 20, 30 games. That is a very select few. Most fans say, hey, we're going to go to 1 or 2 games, and then maybe if the team gets hot, we'll add another game to it. That's most fans, whether it's because of financial reasons or just time, right? You got busy life, family life. You got vacations in the summertime. You know, obviously you've got activities with kids, and weeknight games even in the summer can be tricky. So you try to get people to the ballpark, and right now you're over. In the month of June, you've been going to the ballpark. You've been getting an L every single time you go to watch. And it's not even just an L. It's a boring performance. You know what I mean? Like, the pitching's great, and we all praise the pitching plenty of times this year. But for the casual fan, too, it's not like that they're losing big. When they go, they're scoring no runs or 1 run. I mean, it's just like the lack of excitement there.
Lack of excitement, and not only that, but just lack of the aggressiveness. Anything with the team. I mean, it was a lackluster performance from top to bottom. That's the stuff that needs to change, though. You know, you talked earlier about, dust ups and stuff that, there's been times where the Royals could have thrown down with other teams, with Indy being hit and stuff like that. There's been other times when the Royals have been intimidated in the box and whatever. Not intimidated, but they're trying to intimidate them. But there's been times they do it, but they don't react. They don't do anything about it.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the hitting issues that they have.
It doesn't, but it brings the team kind of closer together.
I think they're a close team. I think they're a close team. I don't think that's a problem.
Well, they had the players-only meeting, stuff like that. I think stuff like that even goes further whenever you
it's just like you go to the ballpark tonight. Look, obviously,
but it's like a waste of money if you're not doing anything.
No, I hear you. I mean, look, I hope I'm wrong on this, but it's true. I mean, someone points out, like, you're going to go to the game tonight, and you might see 5 hits from the Royals if you're lucky. I mean, that's the mentality that fans have right now.
But the good news is, you always think there's that possibility. Because
Well,
even
sure.
like before
It's
we watched the game
baseball.
last night, I was like, you know what? I look at the ERA from who the Royals are facing. I think the Royals had a day off. Can you see what happened down in Texas? Some of that magic, things can change, but that's the Royals. They keep you busy and keep you wanting more. At least they get to that point. Because of the pitching staff. If the pitching staff was 15-16 lead, you're like, they have no shot.
Sure.
Because they would be screwed.
No, and I feel like it's been clear. I know people disagree with me on it, but like I don't think this season is over yet, despite I know a lot of you that text in do.
There's a lot of struggling teams.
There's too many. It's not even just like the overall amount of games left, but I've said it 100 times now. Like June 25th, the season's not over if you're 3.5 out of a playoff spot. If it is 7.5 on July 5th, well, then you'll hear me saying, "Hey, it's time to sell, boys. Let's go ahead and move on and build for 2026." That's not where they're at yet, though, on June 25th.
Because right now they're just within a good week to be right back in it.
If they keep playing like this at home, then the answer will be very simple for what they do. If this homestand ends up being 1-5 or 0-6, I can tell you on Monday, I'll say, "Hey, all right, it's time." You're probably at that point 6 back, 7 back. But even then, it's technically not even July 1 on Monday. That's not till Tuesday, right? So
you'd
it's
like
just
to wait
crazy.
to the All-Star break. But you may not be able to here. I mean, seriously,
I've always said July
change that fast.
July 5th to July 10th is that whatever they are right there, that's to me going to dictate whether or not they should be flat out sellers or buyers. Although, as we talked with Vern, I think you can do a little bit of both as long as you're building towards 2026. But my idea of rental stuff is out the window. If it's July 10th and you're 7 out, I do not want you trading for a rental player. That does nothing for me. I understand the expectation of the season, but that doesn't help. Trading a piece to get a rental if I'm already quote unquote out of it, no. If they want to trade for a rental today, if you told me tomorrow they traded for one of the rental players, but nobody's available, it sounds like. But if you told me they could, I'd say great move. I love it. You're trying to save the season. Love it. But on July 10th, 8 games out, I don't want you trading for a rental. That's where I'm at.
I'm 100% with that because it gets you nothing.
Yeah.
But a player just taking up development for somebody else.
Yesterday, away from the Royals for a second, yesterday I was excited about something. I was excited about something happening in Cincinnati, which is not normally anything I've ever uttered out loud in my life. That's usually Drew, but yeah, it's true.
Hey.
Chase Burns. I was texting you guys. Did we not talk about Chase Burns yesterday?
We did.
Chase Burns making his MLB debut, top prospect in the Reds organization, top 10 prospect in baseball. His minor league numbers were better than Paul Skeens. Yesterday, all he does is strike out the first 6 batters he saw in his
Aaron
debut.
Judge,
That was
Paul
insane.
Goldschmidt.
Yeah, it was also the Yankees line. It was one of them. I'm serious. I have no idea what his entire career is going to look like. I told you I think he's winning a Cy Young yesterday. I told you at some point in the first 5 years of his career, I think he's that freaking good. You guys saw his stuff. How fun was that? Did you? I don't know how much you watched of it. I watched until he gave up the home run to Ben Rice.
About the same.
It was awesome to watch. There's been some great debuts, but he is just the third pitcher since 1961 to record his first 6 outs via strikeout in his MLB debut. That was one of the most amazing things I've seen from the poise on the mound. Drew, you said it. He's got a little swag to him, confident, all of it. It was awesome to see. And we're all in on Chase Burns. Now, I have a Rookie of the Year ticket on him now.
Nice.
His odds are cut in half. It was 50-1 on Saturday, 17-1 on Sunday, 14-1 before first pitch yesterday. By the 4th inning, his odds, and they are now, he's 3-1 to win NL Rookie of the Year.
It's the 5th player from last year's draft.
Yeah.
That's playing already from the first round.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That seems like it's
another college guy. He was a Wake Forest guy. Cags was a Florida guy.
But it's taking quicker time now to get through the system. The way things are doing now, teams are.
Yeah.
It's not like go down to the minor leagues 3 and 4 years. No, we're seeing guys drafted a year ago. Well, actually, with Finnegan, they got him that year, but that was an outlier.
He's a reliever, too.
It was an outlier.
Different.
But we're seeing more and more of these guys, and we've seen 5 now, get called up where you're not putting your time in the major leagues. You see these teams, the sense of urgency a lot quicker now when you have this many guys already getting called up. They were in last year's draft. Because usually you watch Major League Draft and say, we're not going to see this guy for 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, now you are.
Yeah, I
now
think
you're seeing him the next year.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if this is the new trend or is it just, hey, this was a really. Remember, we all know if you talk to people, this upcoming draft is not nearly as good as last year's draft. Last year's draft was loaded, and the Royals lucked out with it for not having a top 3 pick. The quality of the draft. Let's say this year picking 6th, it would be a worse spot to be in than last year picking 6th. But Chase Burns was a number 2 overall pick, and then today. There's a heck of a pitching matchup in baseball, too. You got Skeens against Mizorowski, the kid from Grain Valley, right? Is it Grain Valley?
Grain Valley. What's his odds for?
He's the favorite now.
Oh, he's the favorite. Okay.
Yeah, so Mizorowski and then Chase Burns are the 2 top favorites for NL Rookie of the Year. But Skeens and this Mizorowski kid's unbelievable, too.
Mizorowski, the game's already started, by the way.
Yeah, he's hitting 102.
He's already gone an inning, 2 strikeouts.
He's hitting 102 on the gun, man. So that's an awesome matchup today. There's some great young pitching in the sport right now. Some guys that could end up really changing the league. But Burns is just. I'm obviously biased a little bit with Chase Burns, but that kid was unbelievable yesterday. I understand his line overall. You say, what are you talking about? His ERA is 5. He gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Yeah, struck out the first 6 batters. I mean, it was, and the Yankees lineup too. It was awesome.
Well. He's getting the Yankees lineup at a good time. The Yankees lineup is not performing. No, it is. It's not playing well right now.
Yeah.
They have not played well at all. And the Rays are right on their heels. Well, it's kind of fun to see. Not beating the Royals, but the fact that they can
I hear you.
catch the Yankees.
Yeah, Mizorowski stranded a runner on third. I just watched his strikeout.
They're just one game
fired
back.
up too.
They're just one game back from the Yankees. That team the Royals are playing. It's crazy.
Well, the NL go on the Central side. So everybody's been talking up the Cubs because they've had a really nice season. You want to talk about the most competitive division right now? The NL Central. You have the Cubs who are 40. What's the latest number on them? 46 and 33. So 13 above 500. The Brewers are 2.5 back. The Cardinals are only 2.5 back in their division. The Reds are 4.5 back. Other than the Pirates, everybody in that division is still in the divisional race. That's the most competitive division in baseball right now. I know you could say the West, but I think we all know the Dodgers are 18 above 500.
It was this one.
It was till it wasn't. No, I think the NL Central is easily the most competitive division in baseball. The East,
agree.
People would argue Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays all within 3 games of each other. That would be the only probably pushback someone would give me, but the NL Central is going to be really interesting this year. And I know it's a lot more fun to talk about other teams when your team is competitive. So right now I know it's not as fun to talk about how tight other divisional races are when right now the Royals have lost 8 in a row at home and all this. I get it, but I don't know. I've enjoyed this baseball season outside of how the Royals have done. I think there's some great storylines going on in baseball right now, but the Royals, man, with all the expectations that we've had for them this year, it's obviously been a massive disappointment to this point. There's still half the season to go, though.
Well, you're trying to get things going at home for a team that won at Kauffman Stadium during June, and you're facing some great teams right now. As mentioned, the Rays, 1 game back from the Yankees, a highly motivated team. Then, of course, you got a first-place team coming in right at that. I mean, It's tough, man. It's going to be tough. Outside of the Pirates, with the Royals, who knows what happens? I mean, I thought the Royals.
By then, who knows?
I thought the Royals could sweep the A's, and clearly they got swept. So, it's baseball.
All right, up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll get back into some comments about Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers that had Bink fired up, and one player admitted something that I don't think you should admit publicly. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. 0% APR for 5 full years on both Nissan Rogue and Pathfinder. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months or even 3.49% APR for 84 months. Bought your last car at 6, 7, even 8% interest, trade it in and drive off in a brand new Nissan and lower your monthly payment. Plus, get up to $6,000 in rebates on the rugged Nissan Frontier. And don't miss 1.9% APR for 60 months on the sleek and powerful Murano. No one in Kansas City has a better selection. Visit Reiselman.com for details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hello all, Steve here with Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. It's springtime. Yay! This is when we start working in our yards. Be careful that your outside faucet didn't burst over the winter. Maybe you've discovered that it doesn't work very well. This month, we are offering an outside faucet replacement special with access for only $3.99. So call Connolly Plumbing Solutions at 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
FanDuel, because nothing says summer fun quite like adding excitement to the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Summer sports are calling your name. That means baseball under the stadium lights, golf on pristine green fairways, soccer matches between world-class goals, and all the action-packed moments that happen in between. You're going to spend all day following your favorite sports on your phone anyway, so you might as well make them more thrilling, more exciting with FanDuel. Open up the app today to see the daily promotions. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use my promo code to get everything started. FanDuel is an official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issues. Non-withdrawable bonus bets. Expire 7 days after receipt. Apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement. Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem. Get out with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Prostate cancer. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed in their lifetime, but early detection can save lives. That's where KCUC comes in. They're the premier center for urology and oncology, with over 50 elite providers in more than 25 locations across the metro. KCUC makes it easy to get screened fast in the comfort of an office, not a hospital. Schedule your screening today at kcuc.com. Don't wait. See why they're KC's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, remember, you see the best in KC.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location. Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC. Used with permission.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. The Royals have lost 8 straight at home, 15 of 18. Game 2 of their series against the Rays is tonight at 6:40. Michael Wacha gets the nod. He's got like a 2.7 something ERA at the K going back to last season. Vern's on Deck Show, 5:30, right here. Your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan.
One thing about the pitching staff, they definitely have stoppers they need tonight, because hopefully you can hear you and Cody tomorrow talking about, well, a chance to go out to the K tomorrow afternoon and see a series win, again, against these great teams. Don't want this to become 7 straight series losses. If they lose that game tonight, that would be brutal. But last night was extremely frustrating. NBA draft round 1 tonight. It's going to be round 2 tomorrow night, so just round 1 tonight. Cooper Flagg, of course, will be number 1 overall pick and head to the Dallas Mavericks. This, to me, is a Twitter/X event.
Yeah, first few picks, as I said, I'll watch. After that, it's give me the updates, especially since it gets very confusing after like pick 9. There's this guy gets drafted, then he gets traded, then he gets traded to that team who then made this pick. And the guy's wearing a hat for the Nets, but he's really a member of the Thunder. It gets very, very confusing.
Speaking of the Thunder, there's a report that they're trying to get into above 15. I know we talked about it a little bit, Gold.
Yeah.
There's reports around the Thunder a little bit trying to move up again.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that tonight. Next up on What's Trending, we had multiple times today touched on that story out of Chicago with a fan yesterday towards the player for the Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte, and saying something very hateful towards him about his mother that passed away, and that fan was ejected last night. The fan now, I just got an alert from ESPN that fan for the White Sox has been banned from all stadiums.
Okay,
so good. That's exactly what should happen. By the way, they're already
definitely.
Yeah, they're playing their day game right now. The White Sox did put up like a nice message on the outfield video boards when Marte stepped in the batter's box, saying like Chicago is behind him, because that was a terrible, terrible moment last night. And Chicago fans should be embarrassed by that, obviously. I understand it's one fan, but still, we all know that's a terrible, terrible thing that happened. Glad to see he's banned from all stadiums. That guy should not be allowed to watch baseball in person.
Again, it's one thing to talk about how a guy's playing. Everything's fair game when it's between the lines. But outside that, family, stuff like that, stay away. Whit Merrifield announced his retirement. Royals sent out a nice message
Congrats
to him.
him.
Whit responded to that, but Whit Merrifield put together a nice career. Always kind of that underdog, from going back to where he was in college, that walk-off hit, College World Series, things going good for Whit. Took him forever to get to the major leagues, then became damn good. 3-time All-Star, twice led the league in hits, and 1 year he did hits and stolen bases. Put a nice little career. It just wasn't good timing for Whit, as the big money wasn't going to come till later.
It's a shame.
Was the wrong age.
It's a shame how it ended, obviously, in Kansas City with everything, both on the field and off the field stuff, and reaction and everything there. But he had a hell of a career. Congratulations to Whit Merrifield. Also, his retirement post was pretty funny. I don't know if you caught that yesterday. His agency put it out, and he was talking about how special it was to be in Kansas City, also in Philly and all. But when he talked about Philly, he said he apologized for his poor play. Quote, "Philly, I liked you way more than you liked me. Sorry I stunk for you." I love it. That was in his retirement post yesterday. That is what's trending, by the way, here on Cody and Gold. As you can hear, Jay Binkley filled in for Cody. Cody is back tomorrow. Bink, I appreciate you filling in, man, the last week and a half or so.
Cody's dance contest. He danced
We'll find
well.
out. He was danced at. I'll ask him tomorrow how that went. He'll be back in the saddle. He'll be back in that seat right there, man.
Yeah, be good to see him. His short show tomorrow.
Yeah, Royals have a day game tomorrow. That is definitely true. A little day game action against the Rays. Someone says, how do they enforce that ban on that fan? Well, with the tickets being digital, my guess is there's some ways they can do that. Some of it is probably more of like, hey, if you get caught, you are trespassing kind of thing. I don't. They obviously don't. They're probably not, having his photo hanging up at every gate at every MLB ballpark. But it's one of those where, like, if he's caught being in the stadium, then they can charge him for trespassing. I'm assuming that's kind of, I don't know. Someone that works in security or at the stadium could probably tell me how that kind of thing works. If it's digital tickets, they can probably ban his MLB ballpark account. But if he were to go with a buddy and you're like, can you prevent him? Look, I'm sure he could walk into a random stadium in 3 weeks and nobody's going to recognize him. But if somebody does recognize him, or somehow link it to him or whatever, then he's going to be charged with trespassing, is my guess of how that works.
Clearly knew what he was doing. That's something that just comes up.
Facial recognition. I mean, they have that if you enter the fast line or whatever they call it out
they
there.
can spot you, too. Nowadays, they can zoom right in on you.
I just, they've got security teams that can take care of some of that stuff.
Just as long as he's not talking to players about personal things.
Yeah, that's messed up. That is messed up. Before we get to some comments from an NFL player that I'm surprised he said publicly, we already discussed this a little bit earlier, but you felt like it was one of the worst takes of the offseason when Sam Munson was talking about the impact a player has had over the last century, right? In this 21st century, in the 21st century. And ESPN did their all-century team, quarter century, I guess, at this point. And they had Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes and Brady in the top three. And which is fine, I think. Mm-hmm. Sam Munson said that Aaron Rodgers had more of an impact than Patrick Mahomes of the last quarter century.
I think when you're talking, there's a difference between like who is better, who is more talented, who is,
Don't say talented. Don't say talented.
No, shut up.
Don't say talented.
There's a difference between like who has a greater degree of ability or ceiling or whatever, and who has had a greater impact over this century, which is 25 years old, but we're only going to count 5 years for one guy. Like Rodgers has had a greater impact on the 21st century NFL than Mahomes has, I would.
Impact.
Mahomes has been entering his 9th season in the league. Rodgers obviously is 41 years old. He's about to wrap up his NFL career. He's been to he's won a Super Bowl. He's been a Super Bowl MVP. He's been an MVP, three times, I guess. 4-time MVP. He's had an unbelievable career. He's a top 10 quarterback in NFL history. You would agree?
No question.
So influence, you would agree that Rodgers has had an influence on the league?
Well, sure. He's always a factor. When he was a starter, he always had to worry about them, and they always had a chance because he was the quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes has obviously had a massive influence on the National Football League in only 8 years in the league.
A bigger influence because as good as Rodgers was, he never turned them into a dynasty. And I think of dynasties being impacts.
Sure, and I think they are. Remember, though, this is not a conversation of who we think is better, who's going to end up having the better career, who has had the better career. That's not what they're debating in this influential type of question. I'm with you that Mahomes has been more influential even in a shorter period of time because of everything he has already accomplished. He's changed the way quarterbacks in college are looking to play. He's changed the way teams are scouting.
And in my mind, Alex, he's the face of the league. I never saw Aaron as the face of the league.
Because of Brady's crossover.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I've seen Mahomes as the face of the league.
I think, though, as I told you, I'm on your side that Mahomes is the answer here. I just don't think it's as crazy. Like, his take about Rodgers, like suggesting that it could be Rodgers, I'm open to having the conversation. It's not, you think it's a terrible take on his part. I disagree with it. I don't think it's the worst take I've heard all summer. That's for sure.
I think it's, I understand and I respect what Rodgers, but could we be talking about any quarterback, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, anybody.
I hear you.
And Mahomes had the biggest influence because of what he's done with the sport, what he did to his city. It became big league city with everything that he's accomplished. The fact that he's won 3 Super Bowls, gone to 2 more and lost them, only been a starter for 7 years in the league. Oh, he's only gone to the AFC title game or Super Bowl every single season of his career. The only quarterback in the history of the game that can make that claim. That's an impact.
So
the fact that you're doing a dynasty, Tom Brady.
But the 4 MVPs are also an impact, is my point.
No,
Like, again, Mahomes is the answer, but acting like Rodgers doesn't even have any bit of a case here, I think is.
That's fine. Rodgers, 4 MVPs. Well, Mahomes got 2 regular season wins, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, but 3 rings. That goes a long way. And the fact that he's always good. 7 straight AFC title games means he doesn't go out there and have a bad year. He's always in the championship game or right before.
I'm 100% with you, but the same way you're trying to use the longevity against Rodgers now too, because Mahomes, we don't know how the final 3 years of Mahomes' career is going to look.
But he built his team up to be a dynasty. That's something that Rodgers never did with the Packers. Patrick Mahomes has built a dynasty. Tom Brady's built the dynasties. 2 dynasties in this decade.
Yes, those are the 2 greatest. Those are the 2 greatest quarterbacks in NFL history.
And also, I look at impact on football. What do you do for TV? Well, Mahomes is ratings.
Ask Pat McAfee what Aaron Rodgers has done for ratings.
I was going to say. I mean,
if we're playing that game,
I was going to say.
No, but Mahomes again. The Chiefs. 3 different streaming services. Their first game ever was the Kansas City Chiefs. That's an impact.
But that's not.
And the fact that he's got 17 postseason wins. That's an impact on the game. Aaron Rodgers has 12 total. Patrick Mahomes is number 2 all time in postseason wins. That's an impact.
I would side with Mahomes as well, but acting like Rodgers doesn't have a case is not.
It's not about Rodgers. It's about Manning. It's about any quarterback that played in the century.
Okay.
It's about century, the most influential in this century.
In a century, they're in a quarter of a century is 25 years, and he's entering his 9th.
I'm just saying, it's Brady and Mahomes.
So when they do all-century teams, there's guys that were better players but only were part of 4 years of a century. Why they're not on an all-century team?
Mahomes, considering what he's accomplished and the fact that he's always been, I would not put him
But I don't think it's a crazy conversation to have from
Rodgers being free.
Yeah, I don't think it's a crazy conversation that someone wants to make a case for Rodgers. That's all I'm saying. I think it is Mahomes. Go ahead, Drew. Sorry.
Bink, if the Chiefs made it to, let's say the Chiefs have made it to all the Super Bowls they have, but they've only won 1 of them. Does that change your opinion?
Probably not, because of the team's success for 7 straight years.
Again, hang on a second.
And also, team success is very important. This team, and it goes back to Alex Smith, they've won 9 straight division titles. Aaron Rodgers didn't do that.
Bink, but this is the thing. See, you almost answered the question for yourself there. You said the team success. That's where I think this conversation, you open up all kind. For as much as you say Mahomes has done all these things, which he has done, and that's credit to him.
If you made the flip argument and put Rodgers instead of Mahomes, I'd say he's the one.
If you're going to use the win argument, the win argument, the how many rings, you have to encompass the team aspect in there as well, where I think that changes things a little bit when you're talking about Andy Reid versus Mike McCarthy. I think it changes a little bit in terms of influence. The reason why you should have said absolutely not, it doesn't change anything, is because as long as Mahomes is making the games, he's being talked about the most. I think Gold mentioned it as well. When you're making the games, forget even if they do well, people see you more than anybody else. So even if Mahomes is, if you could argue if Mahomes, let's say they make all these Super Bowls and the Chiefs don't win a single one of them, you could still potentially, and Mahomes is as good, all of his stats are the exact same, but the Chiefs don't.
Kelly.
but the Chiefs don't have a single Super Bowl. I think you could still argue your case and your side of things because we see Mahomes more than anybody else because he's always in the AFC title game.
I guess what I would
always
ask,
in the Super Bowl. So influence is always going to be higher because you see them more often.
Yeah, I guess I would ask, and again, that's the separation of like greatest quarterback of all time debate is different than who was most influential.
Yes,
I would love if we were just go quarterback by quarterback. How many times would if we just randomly surveyed someone who was more influential? I'm talking about we can go back to Steve Young, to Montana, to Bradshaw, Marino, Unitas. I'm serious. Like how many people would always just choose the better quarterback? And I guess that's my argument, and that's why I don't think Sam Monson's point is crazy. While I think Mahomes is the answer. If we're just going to say every time the answer who's most influential is always the best quarterback, well then we're not really asking who's the most influential, right? That's all I'm saying. We're just saying, you know what I mean?
I'm just looking at. There's been since this century. There's been 2 dynasties, Patriots and the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have a dynasty. Rodgers never had a dynasty, so that would put him behind Mahomes and Brady right there. The dynasty aspect of the whole thing.
But you're using team stats as a reason to back up the quarterback play.
Mahomes may not now, but he has been the, quote, face of the league.
For sure.
Brady has been the face of the league.
Mm-hmm. Because
I would never said Rodgers was the face of the league.
I think that you can make a case now that by the way that people talk about Josh Allen, I think you might get out of 10, if you ask 10 people, 10 random people, not in Kansas City. You'd have to ask them somewhere random. If you ask them who the most influential quarterback is in the league right now, today, I think Josh Allen would be mentioned at least 3 times or 4 times.
Some people are dumb, Drew. You do run into, if you're doing random people, you're running into dumb people.
No, because
or drunk.
Because I think that it's the same reason why people think that some quarterback is better than another one, or because when you throw in team stuff, I think it's really difficult to say quarterback influence is a part of that, because otherwise you would note the most ridiculous of examples, like Trent Dilfer. Well, you know what? Team wins, man. Trent Dilfer. That man's got a ring. Lamar Jackson does. He's got more wins than Lamar does. He's got a better record than Lamar does in the playoffs. That man's pretty damn impactful compared to Lamar Jackson, which is a ludicrous take. There's sides to everything, but I think you have to look at the individual more than wins, more than playoff record, because it's a team sport. And the fact that they've had Andy Reid and a great defense, and Brady did as well, had a great defense, it's hard to really look at the individual quarterback play when you're looking at a run and the success of a dynasty. Quarterback play is part of it, but I don't think that's the end-all, be-all in terms of influence. Like Michael Vick is one of the most influential players in NFL history, period. The man didn't win one. He didn't even make one.
I saw the Green Bay Packers dominate, build up a team with Brett Favre, hand off there and Rodgers. Chiefs haven't had that. Like, they never had that success where for you Favre to Rodgers. They went 20.
Right, nobody's disputing that.
They went 20.
That doesn't change anything,
They went 21 freaking years without a playoff win. Think about that. Somebody that was born.
But that's a team thing again.
No, wait. Think about it. Somebody that's born can sit in a bar and drink a beer legally. The distance of time the Chiefs win a playoff game. Mahomes enters the equation. He's got 17 postseason wins. Second all time. Second all time, only to Tom Brady. That's an influence.
All right, let's move away from this. We can go in circles. I told you, Bink. I agree Mahomes is the answer. We just disagree on the Rodgers saying there's not a case to be made for him is where we disagree. And I don't think Sam Munson was that off base for saying that. Anyway, Deontay Johnson, who at one point was a guy people in Kansas City mentioned as a trade candidate midway through the season. People wanted him here. I know we talked about it. I think I might even have said, hey, I'd be intrigued. And he ended up not really playing at all for Baltimore. And he said something out loud yesterday that I'm shocked. Now that he's in Cleveland, the fact he admitted this was crazy. He admitted that he did not go into a game because it was cold. Quote, I wasn't getting into no run plays, no passing plays or nothing. It was cold. End of the third, going to the fourth quarter, they were like, hey, Tay, we need you. I was like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea for me. My legs are already ice cold. I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. It's not like I didn't want to go in the game, But leading up to this point, I had been through so much. I told them I'm not going to go in, so I just sat on the bench. That's when they suspended me. I don't care how cold you are. I don't care if you're mad about playing time. If you, and this is why he ultimately got cut by the Ravens, but an NFL player saying he's too cold, and by the way, not just that like, I need to get stretched, or whatever. No. Bink was about to have me have a drop there again for him, but if we don't have a
oh, the drop is in there.
Oh yeah, from earlier.
From earlier, you've said it twice now.
Yeah, look, if his argument is he needed to get warmed up, that's not what he's saying. He's saying he was too cold. This is crazy. I don't know. Cleveland. If I was the Cleveland Browns, I'd be like, they also traded for Deshaun Watson, so they don't care.
A single team in the league.
I don't want this guy on my team. I need to get stretched out. Okay, true. Okay. Deontay Johnson was talking about.
There's not a team in the league that should have him play for him. To be honest with you, because you're going to get in post. I don't care if you play Miami or whatever. You're still going to probably find your way playing.
41. You play in Cleveland.
It just shows your commitment level. It shows your commitment level to the sport. Again, combine. People ask crazy questions. How much do you like football?
Yeah.
How much? Why do you ask that question? Because of Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I would not want him on my team, plain and simple. I'm worried that in November there's a key moment in the game we need him in there, and he's like, it's 22 degrees outside and snowing, too cold for me.
I'm good.
Because you didn't throw me the ball in the first half, I'm going to pout. That's all this is. I mean, honestly, who the hell wants this guy on their football team? Cleveland.
You want that guy influencing your young receivers and
Cleveland traded for Deshaun Watson. They signed Kadarius Toney after the mess here in Kansas City. So it's Cleveland. It was 41 degrees. It was 41 degrees the day that he said he was ice cold.
That's a heat wave.
41. Good luck in Cleveland, man. Good luck. First cold weather game.
He's behind Jerry Jeudy and.
What's their depth chart? DeAndre Hopkins is there.
He might be third on the depth chart. He might have to play. He might have to suck it up.
I always wondered what he would have done had he been in that minus 31 degree wind chill. Like, would he even stepped on the field? Or he'd be like, I'm good.
I'm thinking, I got Baltimore and Cleveland confused. DeAndre Hopkins is on Baltimore. Sorry. Yeah. Cleveland's, that's my fault. Cleveland's wide receiver room. Who is that? Who else is there?
I mean, Jerry Jeudy is the one.
Yeah.
And that's it?
They drafted somebody, didn't
they? Maybe. I obviously spent 2 picks on quarterback.
Yes, they did. Yes, that's what I hear. I've heard they drafted some guy named Shedeur Sanders.
He should be starting.
I'm pretty sure that's somebody they drafted.
Dylan Gabriel has something to say about that.
No.
Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, and Deontay Johnson are their top 3 receivers.
Shout out to Cedric Tillman.
Don't forget they drafted 2 running backs too right away. Cleveland.
Oh, Quinshawn and Dylan Sampson. I like the Dylan Sampson.
I like both of them.
Well, they moved on from Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's down in Houston, right?
Yeah, they brought in running backs.
They might be trying to turn into a little bit of the Lions, where it's like, we're going to run the ball heavily, and then we're going to hopefully have a quarterback who's okay enough to.
They took a couple guys I want the Chiefs to get. To be honest with you, what they were doing, I was like, what are you doing, Cleveland? Because I want the Chiefs to get some of these guys.
Yeah.
They're good picks.
Someone says, does this guy think Cleveland is the tropics? Yeah, apparently.
Good thing he's not in Buffalo.
He looked at the weather at the time he signed and was like, oh, yeah, this is great.
Oh, Cleveland, they have 70-degree weather in March?
He was also in Baltimore, so he traveled to Cleveland. I don't know when they played. I don't know when they played.
I don't think he's thinking.
The Browns. Come on, Deontay.
Don't want him on my team, plain and simple.
No.
All right, tonight, Royals. Do you think they snap this thing? They get rid of this home losing streak?
I would like to say yes. I'd like to say, I feel good about tonight. I feel good that they're going to turn things around. That was yesterday.